Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. She could tell that these nuns were not lying. It seemed that something else must have happened after her mother was locked in the cellar. Did her mother escape by herself, or was she rescued? Or was she taken away by someone? Yun Chujio clenched her fists tightly under her sleeves. She was angry, blamed herself, and felt helpless. The mother and daughter were like fish on a chopping board. They could only be slaughtered by others. This feeling was terrible. Jingshi, I will kill you sooner or later. Yun Chujio carried a large kitchen knife and walked to the front of the nun with Sanjayan. She cut off her neck with the knife. Ji Mama cried out in shock. Ninth Miss, what do you want to do? Yun Chujio ignored her and walked to the other nuns with the kitchen knife. These nuns were restrained by King Yun's spiritual power and could not resist at all. Seeing the murderous intent in Yun Chujio's eyes, all of them kept begging for mercy. Miss Ju, please spare my life. Spare my life. This was all instigated by the princess. We were forced. Forced? It was clearly you who tortured my mother for some benefits. Now that my mother is gone, what use is there for you to be alive? Yun Chujio said as she killed all the nuns one by one. Ji Mama wanted to stop her but was stopped by Lord Yun. Lord Yun's eyes flashed with a strange light as he allowed Yun Chujio to kill all the nuns. Yun Chujio looked at Lord Yun with a sarcastic look. Eldest uncle, I'll leave the rest to you. After all, you're so warm-hearted that you came all the way here to see my mother. Yun Chujio now completely understood why her mother was locked up in the Yun family's nunnery hall. There was a high chance that Lord Yun coveted her mother, and that Jingshi made up some nonsense about her mother seducing Lord Yun. This infuriated the old princess consort. Any family would naturally not tolerate such a scandal. That was why the old princess consort was so disgusted with Yilan. This Duke Yun was coveting his sister-in-law. He was worse than a beast. What was he doing here? He must be up to no good. Perhaps he was planning to use her to coerce Yilan into submission. He was simply shameless to the extreme. Duke Yun stared at Yun Chujio with a gloomy expression. Little girl, for the sake of your mother, I won't argue with you this time. If you still don't know what's good for you, our Yun family won't have much more of you. We won't have much less of you. You better take care of yourself. Yun Chujio curled the corners of her lips and glanced at King Yun with a faint smile. Then she turned to the sweating Ji Mama and said, Ji Mama, since my mother isn't here, let's go. Ji Mama wished that she could leave this place as soon as possible. The killing intent between King Yun and Yun Chujio was suffocating. She was really afraid that King Yun would kill Yun Chujio in a fit of anger. If Yun Chujio was really killed by Lord Yun, perhaps he would kill her to silence her. Then she was really unlucky. Ji Mama bowed to Lord Yun and followed Yun Chujio out of the cellar. Ji Mama said carefully, Ninth Miss, since Madame Yi has gone missing, we'd better go back quickly. Otherwise, the old princess will be very worried about you. Ji Mama's attitude was much more respectful than before, because she found that although this ninth young Miss spiritual power was low, the murderous aura around her now made people involuntarily fear her. Well, let's go. Yun Chujio walked out of the Yun family nunnery with determined steps. After Yun Chujio left the Yun family nunnery, she remained silent all the way. The reason why she killed all the nuns was partly because she hated them for mistreating Yilan, and partly because she wanted to silence them. She felt that Yilan was most likely saved by someone. After all, if they wanted to harm her, they could just kill her directly. There was no need to go through so much trouble. If those nuns were interrogated by King Yun and found any clues, Yilan would probably fall into his hands. At that time he might use some despicable means to force Yilan. Since that was the case, she would cut off all clues. If her mother wanted to see her, she would naturally have a way to find her. Even if it was worse, when she took control of the Cloud Mansion in the future, her mother would definitely come and recognize her. As for how she would take control of the Yun residence, that was completely out of this fellow's consideration. This fellow had always had this kind of mysterious confidence. Yun Chujio was thinking about something as she casually looked into the distance. Then she was stunned. Seeing that Yun Chujio had stopped moving, Ji Mama said anxiously, Miss Jo, the sky is going to turn dark soon. We have to hurry. Yun Chujio pointed at the ancestral grave of the Yun family in the distance. Ji Mama, why do I feel that the shape of the ancestral grave is a little strange? Is it built according to the formation? The corner of Ji Mama's eyes twitched violently. Miss Jo, how is this possible? You must be upset because Madame Yi has gone missing. Yun Chujio shook her head. It was true. She had never heard that the ancestral grave had to be built according to the formation. How many years would it take to complete the formation? The 20 guards brought by G-Mama did not go up the mountain. They had been waiting at the foot of the mountain, so they did not know what had happened. However, when they saw the gloomy faces of Yun Chujio and G-Mama, they naturally did not dare to ask further. They quickly followed behind the two of them. When they passed by the ancestral tombs of the Yun family, Yun Chujio took a few more glances from afar. She did not find anything strange, so she followed G-Mama and the others into the dense forest. After walking for more than half a day, the sky had completely turned dark. They had no choice but to find an empty space in the dense forest and prepare to spend the night there. Yun Chujio was rather uneasy and could not help but frown. She said to G-Mama, "G-Mama, we'd better hurry through the night. If anyone attacks us in this dense forest, I'm afraid it'll be difficult for us to escape." G-Mama could not help but laugh. "Miss Jo, who in the East Phoenix Kingdom would dare to ambush us? Besides, we have 20 guards with us." Yun Chujio stood up. "G-Mama, it's better to be careful in everything. Let's go. We'll travel through the night. If you want to rest, wait until we board the spaceship." If Yun Chujio talked to herself like that before today, G-Mama would definitely ignore her. She was just a country bumpkin who was not valued. How could she still want to command her? However, after seeing Yun Chujio kill more than 10 nuns with her own hands, G-Mama felt a little apprehensive. Therefore, although she did not think much of it, she still ordered the guards to follow behind Yun Chujio and continue to move forward. The guards were all very dissatisfied, but they were not in a hurry. Why did they have to rush through the night in the dark? This ninth miss had a brain. However, when they saw that G-Mama seemed to be a little afraid of that country bumpkin ninth miss, they naturally couldn't say anything and could only follow. Very quickly, they were surprised to find that the country bumpkin ninth miss was walking extremely fast, almost twice as fast as when she came. They were very surprised. Wasn't this ninth miss only at the 8th layer of the ethereal space realm? How faster than them than the movement? This is too incredible. Yun Chujio dashed forward at her fastest speed. Although she did not know what kind of danger she would be in, she felt increasingly uneasy in her heart. She had to leave this dense forest as soon as possible. When they reached the outside of the dense forest, even if there was danger, with the help of the He-Sher's men, they would at least be able to protect themselves. As the crowd sped forward, a guard suddenly exclaimed, "There seems to be someone chasing us from behind, and there are quite a number of them." Some of the guards replied indifferently, "How is that possible? It's impossible for there to be anyone else in this forest." Yun Chujio's heart instantly sank. Could it be King Yun's men? That's right. That shameless bastard might want to kill her or even kill everyone to silence her. After all, the fact that he secretly went to the Yun clan's nunnery could not be leaked, or else his reputation would be tarnished. Thinking of this, Yun Chujio said coldly, "If you don't want to die, then leave quickly." The guards were startled by Yun Chujio's cold voice, and they subconsciously quickened their pace. Unfortunately, when they were about 5 miles away from the exit of the dense forest, the people behind them still caught up and surrounded them. The faces of those people were covered with black cloth, only revealing pairs of eyes full of killing intent. The leader raised his hand and shouted, "Kill. Leave no one alive." G-Mama protected Yun Chujio and the guards hurriedly accepted the challenge. However, the enemy had more than 3 times as many people as them, and their spiritual power was obviously higher than theirs. In less than an hour they would die without a doubt. G-Mama inwardly cursed her bad luck. How could she have thought that she would only accompany a country bumpkin to the nunnery hall, and she would end up getting herself killed? She had seen a ghost. Yun Chujio's eyes flashed. If she fought head-on, there was no way she could survive. She had to think of a way to stall for time. This place was only 5 miles away from the exit. It was possible that the people arranged by the He-Sher would rush over to help when they heard the commotion. As long as those people came, it was uncertain who would win. Yun Chujio thought of this. She coldly said, "Although your master is my eldest uncle, G-Mama is one of the old consort's people. I am the 9th young miss of the Yun family. If you really kill us today, you will all die sooner or later. Your family members will also die. Even the dogs in your family will die." When those masked men heard Yun Chujio's words, their actions clearly paused for a moment. G-Mama instantly knew that Yun Chujio's guess was true. These people were actually sent by King Yun to silence them. Mama felt both hatred and fear in her heart. Pandin 0ve1 Xiam. At first, she thought that it was the Yi group who shamelessly seduced the king, but now it seemed that it was the exact opposite. The king was coveting the Yi group and was afraid that she would tell the old princess about it. Now he actually wanted to silence her. Mama felt her head buzzing. Since these people were ordered by the king to kill them, even if they managed to escape death this time, they would probably die sooner or later when they returned. The guards following Mama did not enter the nunnery hall, so they were confused. Why did the Royal Highness want to kill Mama and Miss Jiao? Was he crazy? Yun Chujio saw that the masked men only paused for a moment, but their attacks did not decrease. She said loudly again, "Although the throne belongs to my eldest uncle now, don't forget that my grandfather is still alive. He can ask the emperor for an order to abolish Yun Fengjian's throne at any time. A man should leave some leeway in doing things. In the end, if we really pursue the matter, Yun Fengjian will be fine. You are all scapegoats." After hearing Yun Chujio's words, although the masked men's movements slowed down slightly, they still attacked fiercely. Yun Chujio's heart sank. It seemed that these people should be Prince Yun's men of sacrifice. No matter how much she tried to deceive them, it would be useless. She could only hope that those people from the He clan would rush over as soon as possible. Just as Yun Chujio was pondering, the guard's defensive line was broken through. Several masked men charged straight at Yun Chujio. Mama hurriedly took action to meet the enemy. Even though her spiritual power was not low, it was difficult for her to fight against 4 hands with 2 fists. Not to mention protecting Yun Chujio, even her own life could not be saved. Mama thought to herself, it's over. None of them would survive. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth. It seemed that she could only reveal all her trump cards. Just as she was about to release De Hua and Meng Yanshou, dozens of people rushed over. Their faces were also covered with black cloth. Without saying a word, they started to fight with the masked men from before. Yun Chujio let out a long sigh. Luckily, these people came in time. After she returned, she really had to thank Heisher. When the masked men from before saw that they were no match for them, the leader could only say gloomily, "Retreat." When they saw that the masked men had fled, the rest of them did not chase after them. They also did not greet Yun Chujio and the others and left without a sound. Mama wiped the cold sweat off her forehead. He was puzzled. Who were those people? Why did they have to save them? However, it was obviously not the time to discuss this. Everyone hurriedly left the dense forest. After boarding the flying spirit tool, they flew toward the Yun mansion at the fastest speed. Mama looked at Yun Chujio's cold little face and wanted to say something, but she hesitated. Mama, I know what you want to say. Now we have no other choice. You can tell Grandma about it. Besides Grandma, no one can protect us. Besides, don't say anything about me killing those nuns, Yun Chujio said coldly. Mama nodded. At this moment she was so regretful that her intestines were turning green. If she had known that coming out would bring about a fatal disaster, she would not have come no matter what. However, it was too late to say anything now. Ninth Miss was right. Now, besides the old princess consort, no one else could save them. After the old princess consort received Mama's voice transmission talisman, she almost fainted from anger. When the old princess saw the old royal highness, she told him everything. The old royal highness immediately flew into a rage. Vile creature. He's simply worse than a pig or a dog. Coveting his sister-in-law and chasing after his niece. What is he trying to do? I'll ask an imperial decree to cripple this beast right now. The old consort pulled the furious old royal highness back. Royal highness, calm down first. You have to think twice. That beast boss is really hateful. However, the Yun family army's tiger talisman is in boss hands. If he were to be flustered and go all out, I'm afraid that even the emperor would be apprehensive and would not agree to it at all. Moreover, with this mess, our Yun family's reputation will be completely ruined. If things go wrong, the Yun family will fall apart and it will be even harder to end things. The old royal highness panted heavily as he sat on the chair dejectedly and said, "Back then, I shouldn't have given the Yun family army's tiger talisman to that bastard. Back then, when Feng Jin was in trouble, my mind was in a mess. I was muddle-headed and let that bastard take control of the military. I really regret it back then." The old princess sighed again and again. "Your Highness, it's not your fault. The 3rd, 4th and 5th are all more useless than the last. At that time we could only let the eldest inherit the throne. If the second was still alive, we wouldn't be in such a difficult situation. Sigh. After a moment of silence, the old prince finally said, no matter what, protect little Jiu first. Boss and Jingshi are not easy to deal with. You should take care of little Jiu a little more. As for the matter of the throne, I will investigate the younger generation of Jifeng and the others. If there is a suitable one, I will slowly plan to abolish that beast's throne. The old princess nodded. The Yi family has already disappeared. I reckon that boss will not cause any trouble for the time being. I will give Jingshi a good beating. Little Jiu will be fine. It's just that that child is too kind. He doesn't have the heart to guard against others at all. It really makes one's heart ache. That's right. Little Jiu is kind and filial. She is a well-behaved child. Send a few more people with high spirit energy to protect her. Otherwise she will be harmed by those things that are worse than pigs and dogs. The old prince sighed. Hei Xinjiu, who was thought to be Little Lotus, was thinking about her next step. The cards in her hand were really limited. Other than relying on the old royal highness and the old consort's care, she didn't seem to have any trump cards. Spiritual power scum. Connection scum. Wait, she still had one thing that wasn't scum, and that was that she had money. As the saying goes, money can make the devil push the millstone. As long as she planned well, she would definitely be able to take advantage of the situation. However, the most important thing now was to cultivate. Her own strength was not good enough, so she was still uncertain. Beside her, Ji Mama saw Yun Chujia's expression fluctuating between worry and joy. She could not help but ask curiously, Miss Jiu, do you know the people who came to save us? No. That's really strange. Who are they? Why did they save us? Ji Mama was puzzled. I guess they think I'm pretty and want to be a hero to save the beauty. Ji Mama. When the flying spiritual device landed, Ji Mama's heart was finally relieved. She had finally returned safely. This trip was really a narrow escape. Yun Chujio and Ji Mama hurried back to the Yun mansion and then went straight to the old princess courtyard. The moment Hei Xinjiu saw the old consort, she threw herself into her arms and cried, Grandma, sob, sob, I'm scared to death. Big uncle is so scary, he wants to kill me, sob, sob, so scary. The corner of Ji Mama's eyes twitched violently. This ninth miss was simply a drama queen. Was she scared? Why didn't she see that she was scared? Killing those nuns was like chopping melons and vegetables, and also teaching those masked men a lesson. It would be weird if she was scared. The old princess did not know that Hei Xinjiu was acting. She hugged her and comforted her. It's okay, it's okay. Grandmother will protect you in the future. Grandmother will arrange more guards for you in the future. You don't have to worry that someone will harm you. Yun Chujiu wiped her tears with her sleeve and said pitifully, Grandmother, it's a good thing that I have grandmother. Otherwise I really wouldn't be able to live. The old imperial consort sighed. Sigh, it would have been great if you had agreed to be the imperial tutor's disciple. If that was the case, even if boss had the guts, he wouldn't dare to touch a single hair on your head. Yun Chujiu cursed in her heart. That imperial tutor was already old enough to be her father. She wouldn't have taken a fancy to him. Besides, she still had a pretty boy. Thinking of Di Baiming, Yun Chujia's tears fell again. Then she thought of her mother and father who had gone missing. The fake tears turned into real tears and finally burst into tears. The old imperial consort was numb from her tears. Why was she crying again? Could it be because she mentioned the national advisor? Good. Grandmother will not mention the national advisor anymore. Little Jiu, don't cry anymore. Hei Xinjiu stopped crying. She hugged the old princess' arm and said, Grandmother, I'm really scared. Since eldest uncle dared to kill me and Ji Mama, he might do something to other people. Maybe he will hurt you and grandfather too. I don't dare to think about it. The old princess' face suddenly changed. If that bastard was pushed to a corner, he might really jump over the wall in desperation. She really should be on guard. Yun Chujiu stole a glance at the old imperial consort's expression and continued. Grandmother, as the saying goes, you can't do two things at once. It's better to distract first uncle and first aunt's attention. That way they won't have the time to do anything bad. The old imperial consort listened to Yun Chujia's words thoughtfully, but she didn't say anything. She comforted Yun Chujiu for a while before letting her go back. After Yun Chujiu left, the old imperial consort asked Ji Mama, Do you think little Ninth's words just now were intentional? Ji Mama's heart was like a muttering dog. What could she say? She could only say vaguely, this servant can't say for sure. Perhaps ninth young miss was frightened, so she was a little agitated. The old imperial consort nodded. You're right. Little ninth is kind-hearted, so she definitely doesn't have so many twists and turns. Sigh, this child is really too naive. G-Mama wished she could shout out a few words. Old princess consort, are you blind? Which eye did you see that she was kind-hearted? She was kind-hearted? She was simple-minded? She was simply a little devil who killed without batting an eyelid, okay? However, G-Mama did not dare to say it out loud. For some reason she felt that ninth young miss was even more terrifying than King Yun. Seeing that G-Mama did not look too well, the old princess thought that she was frightened, so she did not pay too much attention to it. She said, what do you think can distract the eldest couple? G-Mama recalled what the little devil had told her before and said tentatively, Master, the princess is jealous. Why don't you do something about it? If the two of them fight, they will naturally have no time to care about ninth young miss. Besides, third madam and the princess have not been on good terms. If you give some real power to third madam in the inner residence, the princess will have even less time to care about ninth miss. The old princess nodded. The first thing is for you to get someone to do it. The second thing is for me to do. After He Xinjiu returned to her courtyard, she released the news that her old illness had relapsed. The old princess consort thought that this fellow was frightened and hurriedly invited the imperial physician to come over to take a look. However, the conclusion was the same as last time. She could only recuperate slowly and there was really no good way. The old princess consort had no choice but to have someone take good care of her. From time to time she would send G-Mama over to take a look. When the people of the Yun residence saw that the old princess consort valued He Xinjiu so much, they also came over to take a look. When the He Shi arrived, Yun Chujiu asked Shi Hua and Shi Shui to keep an eye on the outside. She respectfully bowed to the He Shi. Third aunt, little Jiu thanks you for saving my life. The He Shi smiled, little Jiu, you're too polite. The people that third aunt sent were originally to protect you. Yun Chujiu smiled faintly. Although that's the case, I still have to thank third aunt. Those guards left in a hurry and I didn't have the time to properly thank them. Third aunt, take me to pass these spirit stones to them. He sure saw the extra 1 million upper-grade spirit stones in her storage ring, and was instantly shocked. This little Jew, this is too much, isn't it? Third aunt, the kindness of saving a life should be repaid with a gushing spring. This isn't much at all. In addition, when I was talking to grandmother earlier, I mentioned third aunt a few times. According to grandmother, she wanted to hand over some matters of the imperial residence to you to take care of. He Shi's heart was filled with joy, but on the surface she said with a faint smile, you little lass, you're spouting nonsense. The matters of this royal residence are all controlled by Jing Shi. How could she possibly give me some? Third aunt, even if she, Jing Shi, is arrogant and despotic, doesn't she still have grandmother above her? Anyway, I heard that grandmother plans to hand over the clothes and cosmetics of the people in the residence to you. Yun Chujiu said with a smile. When the He Shi heard this, she couldn't help but feel slightly excited. These two jobs were both lucrative. Although she wasn't short of money, who would complain about having too much money? Moreover, as long as she took care of these two matters, she could arrange for her own people. No matter what, it was a great thing. Yun Chujiu glanced at the joy in the He Shi's eyes. She sighed softly. Third aunt, even if I don't tell you some things, you still know about them. In the Cloud King manor, only grandmother and third aunt can rely on me. As long as I can help, I won't say anything else. Third aunt, please take care of me more in the future. He Shi's heart turned a few times. She and Jing Shi weren't on good terms to begin with. Although this little ninth lass was on her own, she had the old consort behind her, so they could work together. In any case, it didn't really matter. When she thought of this, He Shi smiled and said, you child, third aunt will naturally take care of you. Yun Chujiu smiled. She lowered her voice. Third aunt, there are some outrageous things that I can only say to you. I heard that the position of crown prince is not that secure. The reason why he likes Sister Shiyu is because of the Yun family army in first uncle's hands. In other words, whoever controls the Yun family's army is the master of King Yun's residence. He sure was shocked. She obviously didn't expect Yun Chujiu to be so straightforward. She couldn't help but tremble slightly as she said, little Jiu, what do you mean? Third aunt, I don't mean anything. I just need to grab hold of my life when I do things. Otherwise, there's really no use for some small fights in the house. Also, Third aunt, you don't have to worry about me. What can a lonely little lass like me do? Yun Chujio calmly replied. He sure's heart pounded violently. The thoughts that she had been suppressing all this while once again rose up in her mind. She spoke with a trembling voice. You have a way to obtain the tiger talisman of the Yun clan army? Also, even if you obtain the tiger talisman, it's useless. How would the Yun clan army listen to your third uncle's orders? Third aunt, there are some things that I don't have to tell you. Grandfather is extremely disappointed with uncle. The reason why he didn't submit a petition to cripple uncle was because he was afraid of the tiger talisman in his hands. It was useless for others to have the tiger talisman, but when the tiger talisman was in grandfather's hands, the Yun family army would naturally listen to his orders. At that time, grandfather would cripple uncle, and third uncle would have made a great contribution. Third aunt, your mother's family is Prince Ping's residence, so the throne would naturally fall to third uncle. Third aunt, at that time, you were consort Yun, sister Shilian was Princess Shilian, and brother Jichen was the crown prince. How wonderful! Yun Chujio said with a faint smile. The scene that Yun Chujio described had already been described countless times in the Heesher's mind. All along she felt that she was more suitable for the title of consort Yun than the Jing Shi. How could she not be moved by Yun Chujio's words? Little Jio, do you have any way to obtain the tiger talisman? Heesher asked in a trembling voice. It's very simple. Find a woman that can interest my eldest uncle and create a few coincidental encounters. Then get that woman to ignore him. He will naturally think of a way to please that woman. Then, get that woman to think of a way to get him to take out the tiger talisman for her to see. Once the tiger talisman is in his hands, he must immediately deliver it to grandfather. This is to prevent any more trouble. Occasionally missing content. Please report errors in time. Hei Xinjiu flipped through the pages and saw the 5 refined iron puppets. Because they were too weak, Yun Chujio had not used them for a long time. She did not know if they would break down after being in use for so long. Yun Chujio simply released the 5 puppets. Seeing that the spiritual stones in the puppet tray had all been used up, she stuffed the puppet tray full of spiritual stones. Then the 5 puppets opened their eyes. The 5 refined iron puppets knelt on one knee and said in unison, "Greetings, master." Hei Xinjiu was so scared that she almost sat on the ground. How could she still talk? She was scared to death. Although these puppets said it with spiritual sense, it still scared Hei Xinjiu a lot. Previously, these puppets could only understand her orders, but they couldn't give back any information. How could they be so smart when they were just left there? Get up, Hei Xinjiu stammered. Only then did the 5 puppets stand up, lowering their hands and standing obediently in front of Hei Xinjiu. Hei Xinjiu rubbed her chin and pondered. These puppets seemed to be smarter than before, but this refined iron shell was really weak. She had to think of a way to refine some good materials to drive the shell. This way she would be able to lend a hand. This guy still had a few 10,000-year-old black iron chains, but the little flame was too weak to melt the 10,000-year-old black iron. Otherwise, refining a few puppets made of 10,000-year-old black iron would be awesome. Hei Xinjiu blinked her eyes and decided to go to the shops on the street when she had time. If there were good puppets, she would buy a few and then modify them herself. The next day he sure came again in the name of delivering pastries. He sure and Yun Chujio had a simple discussion, then he sure left in high spirits. After a few days, Yun Chujio heard Xihua gloating over Xihua's misfortune and reported to her that Jing Shi and Yun Fengjian were quarreling with each other. Then the old consort found Jing Shi and gave the matter of clothes and cosmetics to He Shi. Jing Shi was so angry that she quarreled with He Shi on the spot. After that, it was the old consort who reprimanded the two of them and then stopped. Yun Chujio curled her lips. This was just the beginning. Take it slow. There was no rush. This fellow felt that his illness should have recovered, so he went to greet the old imperial consort and the old royal highness. After acting coquettishly, Hei Xinjiu said with a smile, "Grandmother, I want to go shopping on the street. I've been holding it in for the past few days." The old princess said with a smile, "That's true. You can go shopping then. Just ask them to come to the Yun mansion to settle the bill. I'll send some guards to protect you in secret." Hearing that she did not need to spend money, the smile on Yun Chujio's face became even brighter. The old princess was so coaxed that she could not even find the north. Mama curled her lips in her heart. The old princess was usually quite shrewd. How could she be blind when she met this ninth young miss? Why did she feel that such a cruel and cunning little devil was pure and kind? He Xinjiu happily brought Shi Hua and Shi Shui out of the Cloud King's mansion and soon arrived at the South Street, which was filled with shops. Because of the image of He Xinjiu riding on the glory of the rabbit and the rumors spread by Princess Xiyu, many people were pointing fingers at He Xinjiu. Do you see that? She is the ninth miss of the Cloud Mansion. She is the ninth miss who refused the imperial preceptor without knowing what was good for her. Tiskeye, she is quite good-looking. No wonder the imperial preceptor took a fancy to her. There must be something wrong with her brain. Otherwise, why would she refuse the imperial preceptor? I think so too. Other people ride wildebeest, but she actually rode a broken rabbit. Moreover, I heard that she shamelessly said that she had done something outrageous with a wild man. I also heard about it. What do you mean by touching or not touching? She's really shameless. No wonder even the divine phoenix didn't accept her. Even I don't want such a piece of trash, let alone the divine phoenix. Shi Hua and Shi Shui's faces flushed red. They glared at those people angrily, wishing that they could go over and give those people a good beating. Yun Chujiu laughed lightly and motioned for the two of them to calm down. She jumped down from the rabbit and then looked at those people who were gossiping. When those people saw Yun Chujiu looking at them with a faint smile, they could not help but feel a little guilty. Some of them shouted, "What are you looking at? Did we say something wrong? You rejected the national master to begin with. You have no sense of shame." Yun Chujiu's smile deepened. She pointed at the people who were talking and said, "Men, send these people who are slandering the national master to the government." Immediately, the guards who were secretly protecting Yun Chujiu controlled the people who were talking. Those people immediately became anxious. "What right do you have to say that we slandered the imperial tutor? You are slandering us." Yun Chujiu sighed faintly. "I am someone who the imperial tutor wants to take in as a disciple. You say that I am worthless. Aren't you slandering the imperial tutor's judgment? So, you are slandering the imperial tutor. Take him away. The government will have a verdict." Those people were instantly dumbfounded. That's right, they were simply blinded by lard. No matter how bad Yun Chujiu was, she was someone that the national master wanted to take in as a disciple. She was someone that the national master thought highly of, yet they made her look so bad. Wasn't that insulting the national master's taste? Those people were finally afraid. If they were sent to the government, insulting the imperial tutor would be a big crime. They might even be punished to dig for mines. If they were not careful, they might lose their lives. The more they thought about it, the more afraid they became. They fell to their knees with a plop. "Ninth miss, we were all out of our minds just now, so we said some nonsense. Please have mercy on us, my lord." "Yes, ninth miss, we are also people. Our brains are not good and we are stupid. Please treat us as farts. Miss Jo, I have a mother and a child waiting to be fed. Please spare me this time." Yun Chujiu did not speak for a long time. Just when those people were in despair, Yun Chujiu said indifferently, "It's not that I'm ruthless. It's just that a woman's reputation is too important. However, you have also been fooled. Forget it, you can leave." When those people heard Yun Chujiu's words, they immediately kowtowed and bowed and then left dejectedly. Yun Chujiu looked at the rest of the onlookers and said with a faint smile, "I don't know where you heard that version of me, making me sound so unbearable. In fact, the matter was very simple. The imperial preceptor had indeed taken a fancy to me, but because I already had someone in my heart, the imperial preceptor had helped me. As for sacrificing my body to the divine phoenix, it was also because the divine phoenix felt that I had a pitiful background and was kind-hearted, so it didn't take me in. If the divine phoenix dislikes me, wouldn't it be better to just kill me to avoid being an eyesore?" After Yun Chujiu said this, she brought along the stunned Shi Hua and Shi Shui and continued strolling forward. The onlookers pondered for a while, and it seemed that what Yun Chujiu said was the truth. What she said earlier was really a bit ridiculous, so they all dispersed after discussing in low voices. Not far away, two men stood on the second floor of an inn. They had a clear view of what had just happened. "Jichin, this ninth sister of yours is really not simple. She broke the rumor with such a simple toss. No wonder the imperial tutor wants to take her as a disciple." The one who spoke was the fifth prince, Ling Tianhong. The man beside the fifth prince was Yun Jichen, the third son of the Yun family. He frowned. Your Highness, although this ninth sister of mine is eloquent, she is too sharp. She is just a little girl. The fifth prince looked at Yun Jichen with a smile that was not a smile. Then he said, Jichen, I think she is not simple. How can the person that the national advisor has his eyes on be simple? And I heard that the reason why King Yun brought her back should be a hint from father. Yun Jichen frowned even more. Then he said, is it a hint from the emperor? If it was a hint from the emperor, why would eldest uncle have the intention to kill her? It's very simple. I reckon that King Yun feels that she has no value after rejecting the national advisor. Furthermore, she has exposed his scandal. Naturally, he will kill her to silence her. The fifth prince's face was filled with disdain and a cold smile. Without waiting for Yun Jichen to speak, the fifth prince continued, you are the only good person in your Yun family right now. The rest are either mediocre, incompetent, or immoral. Therefore, you are the most suitable person for the position of King Yun. However, Yun Fengjian has a solid foundation now. I'm afraid we can't do anything to him in a short time. We still have to plan slowly. Hearing the fifth prince's words, Yun Zichen's face was slightly stiff. If my second uncle was still alive, our Yunwang manor wouldn't have become like this. Unfortunately, little ninth sister is a woman. If she were a man, she would be perfect as the Yunwang lord. After all, the Yun family army only became so powerful in the hands of second uncle. The fifth prince's eyes flashed and he said indifferently, without a son-in-law is also fine. Before Yun Jichen could react to the fifth prince's words, he saw the fifth prince turn around and leave the house. Yun Jichen was suddenly shocked. His Highness meant that, could it be that he wanted to marry little Jiao? Yun Jichen did not have time to think and quickly chased after her. Yun Chujiao had already entered a shop that sold equipment. The owner of the shop had already seen the commotion for half a day and knew that this Miss Jiao was not someone to be trifled with, hence, his smile was full of enthusiasm. Miss Jiao, please take a look. If you like one, I will give you the best price. Yun Chujiao nodded and glanced around the shop. She found a few puppets made of 1,000 hammer iron. She asked the owner to demonstrate them and found that they were not much different from the puppets she had seen before. It was just that they were more exquisite and sturdier. These puppets are a little weak in defense. Do you have any puppets made of better materials? Yun Chujiao asked. Before the shop owner could say anything, he heard a gentle female voice say, Sister Jiao, why did you buy the puppets? Yun Chujiao turned around and saw Princess Shiyu and Jing Shuiying walking in. Princess Shiyu was smiling like a spring breeze, but Jing Shuiying's eyes were full of resentment. Yun Chujiao said with a smile, I bought it to protect myself. After all, I'm so weak. If I have a puppet, I can buy some time to escape. Jing Shuiying sneered, then she said, Yun Chujiao, it's not that I look down on you. Even if you have a puppet made of good materials, can you afford it? Besides, puppets are of little value. They can only defend but not attack. With that kind of money, you might as well buy more talismans. Thank you for your reminder, but I still want to buy a few puppets. Boss, do you have a puppet made of better materials? The price is not a problem. After all, this money is in the public accounts of the Cloud King's mansion. Yun Chujiao said with a smile. Princess Shiyu's expression immediately changed. The official account of the Cloud King mansion? This Yun Chujiao was really shameless. Puppets made of good materials were very expensive. Why should she go through the official account? The shop owner was overjoyed. He quickly said, Ninth Miss, there are a few 1,000-year-old black iron puppets on the second floor. It can be said that they are the most valuable treasures in our shop. The items are definitely good, but because the price is relatively high and everyone doesn't know the goods, we haven't sold them. Yun Chujiao raised her eyebrows. Is that so? Bring me up to take a look. Princess Shiyu's eyes flashed as she followed behind. She thought to herself, if the price was cheap it would be fine. But if it was really expensive, no matter what, she couldn't let her go through the public accounts. She would definitely ruin it. Everyone went up to the second floor. After the shop owner opened a few restrictions, he opened another cabinet. There was a puppet inside. Almost at first glance, Yun Chujiao decided to buy it. Because this puppet was not only exquisitely made, but the material looked very hard. If she added the puppet disc with her spiritual sense, it would be a great killing tool. Although Yun Chujia was very fond of it in her heart, she looked indifferent on the surface. It looks alright. How much is it? 5 million upper-grade spirit stones. After saying that, the shop owner felt a little embarrassed. This price was really too expensive. It was enough to buy a high-quality flying spirit tool. It's not expensive. I'll buy as many of these puppets as you have. Yun Chujia said indifferently. Both the shop owner, Princess Shiyu, and Jing Shuiying were stunned. This was 5 million high-grade spirit stones. Why did it feel as light as 5 high-grade spirit stones in her mouth? Moreover, how many did she want? The shop owner was the first to react. His old face smiled like a flower. Ninth Miss is really discerning. Such good things are naturally not expensive. I have a total of 5 such puppets here. A total of 25 million high-grade spirit stones. Hand over the goods. Then go to the Yun mansion to get the spirit stones. Yun Chujia said indifferently. Alright, I'll help you take out all the puppets now. The shop owner was so happy that he did not want them at all. These 5 puppets had been placed here for decades. Today he finally found a sucker, Emma. It was simply like a pie falling from the sky. Hold on. Shop owner, wait a moment first. I have a few words with ninth younger sister. Ninth younger sister, you just came back. Perhaps you don't know much about puppets, so you saw something new and insisted on buying them. Actually, this puppet is very useless. It can only passively defend and cannot actively attack. To be honest, it's better to buy some spirit tools or talismans. Moreover, 25 million is not a small amount. Even if the elders in your family pamper you, they won't let you squander it like this. Princess Shiyu said with a sincere tone. The corner of Yun Chujia's mouth slightly curled up. Then she smiled and said, Sister Shiyu, you don't have to worry about this. I haven't enjoyed the treatment of the Miss of the Yun Imperial Residence for so many years. Even if it's an annual allowance of 2 million upper-grade spirit stones, it's not just these 25 million upper-grade spirit stones for so many years. I believe that first uncle and first aunt would not be reluctant to part with it. Princess Shiyu choked and took a deep breath. Ninth sister, it's not that I feel sorry for these spirit stones, but that you have to spend the money where it should be spent. These puppets are not worth so many spirit stones at all. The shop owner's face immediately turned ugly. If it weren't for the fact that he couldn't afford to offend Princess Shiyu, he would have pointed at her nose and scolded her. Wouldn't this be disrupting his business? It was really hateful. Jing Shuiying, who was standing at the side, echoed, Cousin, why are you talking so much with this country bumpkin? Anyway, the Cloud King Manor's money is under Aunt's control. You can tell this boss clearly that it's impossible for her to get the money even if she goes there. See how she can still buy it. When the shop owner heard Jing Shuiying's words, he immediately felt uncertain. Yes, this ninth Miss position in the Cloud Mansion was very awkward. She had spent so much money all of a sudden. Perhaps he really wouldn't be able to get the money in the Cloud Mansion. Wouldn't that be a great loss? Pandan 0v1m. Therefore, the shop owner laughed dryly and said, Ninth Miss, how about this? I keep these 5 puppets for you. After you take the spirit stones, you can come and pick up the goods. What do you think? Jing Shuiying revealed a mocking smile on her face. Boss, I advise you not to have any hopes. The money of the Cloud King Manor was not earned by a strong wind. How could she spend 25 million to buy these puppets? There are some people. If you don't have money, don't come out and pretend to be rich. You really overestimate yourself. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Before Yun Chujia could say anything, the sound of footsteps came from the stairway. Everyone subconsciously looked towards the stairway. When they saw that it was the 5th prince, Jing Shuiying's face instantly turned red, and her eyes were filled with fiery adoration. Princess Shiyu subconsciously straightened her back, and a faint smile appeared on her face. Although it was impossible for them to be together, she did not want to have any imperfections in front of him. Jing Shuiying shyly walked up to the 5th prince and bowed. Your Highness, are you also here to buy something? Vandianu. The 5th prince did not even look at her. Instead he said to the shop owner, Boss, give these 5 puppets to 9th Miss. I'll pay for them. What? Your Highness, you want to buy these 5 puppets and give them to this country bumpkin. That's 25 million high-grade spirit stones. Jing Shuiying's heart was filled with jealousy as she shouted loudly. The 5th prince's face sank. Do I need your permission to do anything? Who gave you the courage to question my words? Zheng Shuiying's face immediately turned pale with fright. Princess Shiyu hurriedly said, Your Highness, Shuiying's hasty words offended you, please don't mind. She also had good intentions. Ninth sister might not have seen the puppets before, so she was curious and wanted to buy them all. However, this puppet costs 5 million high-grade spirit stones, it's really not worth it. Moreover, buying it back won't be of much use. When the fifth prince faced Princess Shiyu, his attitude was obviously much better. He softened his tone and said, Since Ninth Miss likes it, it's worth it no matter how much it is. Boss, what are you still standing there for? Hurry up and hand the puppet over to Ninth Miss. Are you afraid that I'll go back on my word? The boss immediately shook his head in fear and eagerly went to get the puppet. Yun Chujia's eyes flashed. What was this fifth prince up to? At this moment Yun Jichan also chased over. He gave Yun Chujio a subtle wink, indicating that she should reject the fifth prince. Yun Chujio had seen Yun Jichan a few times before, but they were all at the Yun family gathering. Hence she did not have a deep understanding of him. She only knew that he sure was the son of the He clan. Although Yun Chujio didn't know why Yun Jichan would give her a hint, she didn't want to accept the fifth prince's so-called good intentions. Thus she smiled and said, Fifth prince, I appreciate your good intentions. However, I'll pay for these puppets myself. Although I'm a little poor, I can still afford these puppets. When the fifth prince heard Yun Chujia's words, he didn't insist. He only watched from the side. He had investigated very clearly. When this Yun Chujia returned to the Yun clan, she had clearly said that she only had 10 million upper-grade spirit stones. How was she going to pay the bill? Moreover, she could not count on the Yun mansion at all. The Yun mansion was now the head of the Jingshi clan, so 250,000 might be able to help her pay. 25 million? Don't even think about it. In the end, she still had to let him help pay the bill. With this layer of involvement, it would be good for him to have more contact with her in the future. With his charm, he did not believe that Yun Chujia would not be moved. The boss thought that Yun Chujia was asking him to go to the Yun mansion to withdraw the money. He rubbed his hands together. Miss Ju, it's not that I don't believe you, but this amount is really too big. You should go back to the mansion to withdraw the money first. I will definitely keep the puppet for you. The corners of Yun Chujia's lips curled up. You don't have to go back to retrieve it. I will transfer it to you now. Zheng Shuiying smiled sarcastically. Yun Chujio, are you talking nonsense? You're paying now? Do you have that many spirit stones? I've heard that you only have 10 million spirit stones on you. Even if you take them all out, it's still not enough. Princess Shiyu said with a helpless tone, That's right. Ninth sister, don't try to be brave. How about this? If you really like it, you can buy a puppet back. Yun Chujio didn't even look at them. She directly passed the spirit stones to the boss and said, I'm in a hurry to have lunch. Hurry up and hand over the puppets to me. The boss looked at the 25 million upper-grade spirit stones in his storage ring. His mouth was wide open. After he came back to his senses, he eagerly handed the 5 puppets to Yun Chujio. The fifth prince and the others were dumbfounded. Was she really rich? Princess Shiyu clenched her fist. It must be the money that old fart gave her. She didn't expect that old fart to dote on this bitch so much. It was really hateful. Yun Chujio put the 5 puppets into her storage ring and then said to the boss, I spent so much money. Shouldn't you give me something? The boss smiled like a flower. Of course. Ninth Miss, follow me to the first floor. You can pick a few things. Yun Chujio thought to herself, this boss sure knows how to do business. She ignored the others and followed the boss downstairs. The fifth prince's face was embarrassed for a moment, but he quickly returned to normal. He walked downstairs and saw Yun Jichan. He followed him downstairs. Zheng Shuiying stomped her feet. Cousin, where did that country bumpkin get so much money? He's really hateful. Princess Shiyu's eyes flashed with impatience. Enough. What's the point of saying all this now? It's better for you to think of a way to win the fifth prince's favor. When Zheng Shuiying heard what she said, she couldn't wait to go downstairs and chase after the fifth prince. Princess Shiyu pursed her lips. What an idiot. However, it would be good if she could marry the fifth prince. At least she would be able to learn some of the fifth prince's actions and avoid harming the crown prince. Yun Chujio picked out a few spiritual artifacts and left the equipment store in high spirits. She said to Shi Hua and 11 Shui, let's go. We'll bring you to eat something good. The two handmaidens had not recovered from their young Miss extravagant behavior. They followed Yun Chujio out of the equipment store in a daze. Miss Jio, wait a moment. I haven't had lunch yet. I'll be the host today. Let's go together. The fifth prince said with a smile. Yun Chujio frowned slightly. Why did the fifth prince bother her? He was really annoying. She turned her head and said indifferently, Fifth prince, I can't eat with people I don't know well, so let's eat separately. After saying that, Yun Chujio skipped away without looking back. The fifth prince clenched his fists and a trace of haze flashed in his eyes. Zheng Shuang fiercely glared at Yun Chujio's back and said shyly, Fifth prince, she doesn't know what's good for her. Please don't be angry. Sister Shiyu and I also happen to be having lunch. Let's go together. Get lost. The fifth prince said with a cold expression. Pandan 0ve1 Zheng Shuang was so scared that she almost sat on the ground. The fifth prince was usually warm like the sun, but this was the first time she had seen such a sinister side of him. Princess Shiyu saw that the situation was not right and bowed to the fifth prince. Then she asked the maid to help the terrified Zheng Shuang leave in a hurry. Seeing this, Zheng Shi hurriedly said, Little Jiu, I heard from Shiyu that you spent 25 million upper-grade spirit stones to buy 5 puppets. Is that true? Yun Chujio nodded. Yes, that's true. It's good that you're here. Please report the bill to me. I haven't enjoyed the treatment of a miss of the Yun mansion for so many years, so I'll treat it as a one-time compensation. I won't mind if I suffer or not. Zheng Shi's face stiffened. She had never expected Yun Chujio to say that. Little Jiu, it's not that first aunt doesn't want you to spend money, but even if we have money, it's not the way to spend it, is it? 25 million to buy 5 puppets is simply not worth it. Yun Chujio's face revealed a slightly mocking expression. First aunt, why do you think I buy puppets? Of course it's to protect myself. I'm so weak and people often want my life. Of course I have to spend a lot of money to buy some things to protect myself. Although the puppets are weak, the materials used to make these 5 puppets are very hard. At least they can buy me some time to escape. In my eyes, my little life is much more important than spirit stones. When the old imperial consort heard Yun Chujio say this, the anger on her face immediately turned into pity and guilt. She said, Boss, little Jiu is right. She has been living on the streets all these years. Not to mention spending 25 million, even spending 100 million is not excessive. You should pay her back. Madam, the informant beside the prince said that the prince has been getting close to a woman called Su Lianqing recently. That woman looks a little like Lady Yi, Nanny Sun said carefully. Zheng Shi immediately threw the teacup on the ground. He's really infatuated. He couldn't find the main person, so he found a substitute. Immediately bring someone to capture that little slut person for me. Granny Sun said with difficulty, I'm afraid that he can't be captured. I heard that Su Lian vowed to never obey, so the Lord sent many guards to keep an eye on her, afraid that she would escape. Zheng Shi became even more furious when she heard that. Good. He's really a slut. The more people ignore him, the more he wants to chase the sun. Princess Shiyu saw that Zheng Shi was extremely angry. She hurriedly advised, Mother, calm down. He's just a slut, why are you so angry? Father is just trying to get something new. When he gets it, he won't care so much. When the time comes, you can deal with that slut. Zheng Shi's expression softened a little. Then she said to Granny Sun, send someone to keep an eye on it. If there's any movement, report to me. Yes. Yun Chujio had just returned to her own courtyard. Before she could play with the puppets, there was a knock on the door. Yun Chujio asked Xihua to open the door. It was Yun Jichen. Yun Jichen was ranked 5th, so Yun Chujio said with a smile, 5th brother, why are you looking for me? Are you here to teach me a lesson about spending money? Yun Jichen smiled. Your own money, of course you can spend it however you want. I have other matters to discuss with you. Let's talk in the study room. Yun Chujio asked Xihua and Xishui to keep an eye on the outside before entering the study room with Yun Jichen. Little Jiu, you really have guts. What exactly do you want to do to incite my mother to do those things? Yun Jichen said sternly. He had returned early today. When he was paying his respects to the He clan, when he mentioned Yun Chujia's matter, the He clan hesitated for a moment and decided to tell him about it. That was why he had come looking for Yun Chujio to settle the score. Yun Chujio did not care about Yun Zikin's serious expression at all. She casually sat down on the chair. Fifth brother, you're so smart, so you naturally know what I want to do. I'm even more curious. Fifth brother, what do you want to do by following the fifth prince? Yun Zichen did not say anything. He stared coldly at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio's clear eyes did not show any signs of weakness as she stared at him. The two of them looked at each other for a long time before Yun Zichen chuckled and said, as expected of second uncle's daughter. What a good scheme. You treat our 3 branches like knives. Do you think that our 3 branches are all fools? Yun Chujio poured a cup of tea for Yun Zichen and said with a smile, Fifth brother, that's not true. Hasn't third aunt's long-cherished wish been to become consort Yun? As for fifth brother, isn't your heart and soul also focused on becoming the crown prince of the prince's estate, or even the Duke of Yun? Otherwise, why would you have to follow the fifth prince around and work hard? I'm merely helping you guys. Fifth brother, you should be thanking me instead. Why are you still questioning me? Yun Zichen snorted coldly. Ninth sister, you are indeed smart, but don't try to be smart. The matter of the East Phoenix Kingdom is not as simple as you think. Yun Chujio took out a spirit fruit and took 2 bites, only then did she say, what's not simple about it? Isn't it just that the few members of the imperial family are also keeping an eye on the Yun family army? Isn't it just that the side of the bed doesn't allow others to snore? It's very simple to solve this problem. Wouldn't it be fine if the emperor were fifth brother instead? Yun Zichen was so frightened that he almost fell off his chair. Shut up. What nonsense are you spouting? Yun Chujio said nonchalantly, Fifth brother, what are you nervous about? As the saying goes, the emperor takes turns to be the emperor, so what's wrong with our Yun family doing it? Otherwise, no matter who ascends the throne, they will treat our Yun family as a thorn in their flesh. Since that's the case, let's destroy them and replace them. Yun Zichen looked at Yun Chujio in shock. He never thought that this 9th sister would be so audacious. He followed the 5th prince because he wanted to help the 5th prince ascend to the throne. When that time came, he would be able to control the Yun family. Otherwise, in terms of seniority, the crown prince would never be able to become his. However, overthrowing the throne was something that he did not dare to even think about. After a long while, Yun Zichen finally said, Little Jiao, the Lung family is a royal family that has been recognized by the heavens. Even if our Yun family really has the strength to overturn the Lung family, the citizens of the Dongfeng kingdom will not recognize us. Yun Chujio curled her lips. What do you mean by the recognition of the heavens? It's just a few tricks. For example, if there's a big rock somewhere or if there's a messy note in the fish's stomach, then we'll just have to make a few things. Fifth brother, otherwise, do you think that the royal family is so awesome that they would still be afraid of our Yun family? It's all fake, it's all lies. Yun Zichen was stunned by Yun Chujio's words. He looked at Yun Chujio in a daze. It was the first time he had heard such words. He felt as if he had opened the door to a new world. So it could be like this? After a long while, Yun Zichen took a sip of tea and calmed down. He then said, but there's still the state preceptor. If the state preceptor helps the royal family, our Yun family has no chance of winning. Pan de N0 VE1 Ba. He's just a lecherous old fraud. If he was so powerful, why didn't he unify the 4 kingdoms? If he was so powerful, why didn't he resurrect the divine phoenix? Only you treat him like a plate of vegetables, a liar who pretends to be a charlatan. Cough cough. Cough cough. Yun Zichen almost choked on the tea in his mouth. This was the first time he heard someone say that the national advisor was a lecherous old fraud. Was this 9th sister crazy? Cough cough. 9th sister, don't spout nonsense. The imperial tutor is the guardian of the divine phoenix. His words carry weight and cannot be disobeyed, Yun Zichen said seriously. Yun Chujio glanced at him. Forget it. Let's ignore him for now. Let me ask you, who do you think will win in the end between the 5th prince and the crown prince? Yun Zichen said without thinking, of course it will be the 5th prince. The crown prince is headstrong and opinionated. He is no match for the 5th prince at all. Isn't that enough? Do you think a person like the 5th prince will allow an existence like the Yun family to exist? If he ascends to the throne, I'm afraid the first thing he'll do is make an example of our Yun family. Yun Jichen knew that what Yun Chujio said was right. From the matter of the fifth prince wanting to marry Yun Chujio, he could see that the fifth prince was determined to obtain the Yun family army. Once he took control of the Yun family army, naturally he could not tolerate the existence of the Yun family. Even if everything you said is right, what do you want to do? Yun Chujio threw the fruit core to the side and said with a faint smile, let's take it one step at a time. Anyway, we have to get rid of Yun Fengjian first and then let grandfather invite you to be the Duke of Yun. As for the matter of the throne, if you feel that it's a little rash, then maintain a delicate balance and maintain the status quo. However, sooner or later the royal family will fall out with each other. It's just a matter of time. Oh right, you can use the fifth prince to add fuel to the fire. This way our plan will be implemented more smoothly. Yun Jichen nodded blankly. Then the two of them chatted for a while more before Yun Jichen left Yun Chujio's courtyard. After walking for a long distance, Yun Jichen touched his nose. He seemed to have gone to interrogate them. How did it turn out to be a collusion? No working together. That's right. You have a seductive face and you flirt all over the place. How shameless. Yun Xian from the Yun family's fifth branch echoed. Princess Xiyu sneered in her heart. This Yun Chuju was really not well liked. Once she entered, if she had the chance she would kill her directly. Yun Jifeng, the crown prince of the Yun family, snorted coldly. Enough. This harvest concerns the reputation of our Yun family. If anyone drags down or causes trouble, don't blame me for being impolite. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes in her heart. This Yun Jifeng was really an idiot. Putting on airs in front of his brothers and sisters. Even if someone like him could inherit the throne, he would still be replaced by Yun Jichen in the end. After a while, the thick fog at the entrance of the valley finally dispersed, and everyone rushed into the divine Phoenix Valley. The Yun family was naturally led by Yun Jifeng and Princess Xiyu. The men surrounded Yun Jifeng while the women surrounded Princess Xiyu. Yun Chujio strolled around in the back indifferently. She didn't expect Yun Shilian from the third room to slow down and walk side by side with her. Yun Shilian said in a low voice, "Little Jio, don't worry. Big brother and I will protect you." Yun Chujio smiled sweetly. "Thank you very much, eighth sister." Yun Shilian looked at Yun Chujio's smiling little face and thought, no wonder the Grand Tutor and the fifth prince have taken a fancy to little Jio Panda N0. VE1 This little Jio was really good looking, especially when she smiled. It was so dazzling that it made people unable to open their eyes. The deeper they walked into the divine Phoenix Valley, the higher the temperature was, Yun Shilian explained, "Little Jio, because the divine Phoenix Valley is a place where the divine phoenix is at its nirvana. It was once roasted by the nirvana fire, so the temperature is higher the deeper you go in. This is the only place in the towering sky continent that is suitable for the growth of the fire fruit." Yun Chujio's heart moved and she asked, "Eighth sister, since there was nirvana fire here, then is there a nirvana pearl?" Yun Shilian didn't have the time to answer. Yun Shilian said with a sharp tone, "I didn't expect that a country bumpkin like you would know about the nirvana pearl. It's really impressive. However, do you think that the nirvana pearl can be produced just like a cabbage?" "That's right. Don't speak if you're short-sighted. Otherwise you'll lose the Yun family," Yun Xian echoed. Yun Chujio smiled and glanced at the two of them. Then she raised her voice and said, "Sister Xiyu, the two of them are scolding me. Help me make a decision." Princess Xiyu was originally gloating at the misfortune of Yun Chujio, but she didn't expect Yun Chujio to suddenly ask her to make a decision. She couldn't help but be stunned. "Sister Xiyu, everyone in the East Phoenix Kingdom knows that you are virtuous and virtuous. You want to protect them, right?" Everyone had heard what they had just said. They were blaming me for nothing. I don't want to live anymore." Hei Xinjiao said as she took out a handkerchief to wipe away her tears. She threw herself into Yun Zilian's arms and began to cry. Those who entered the divine Phoenix Valley were all sons of noble families. They were all very interested in the matters of the Yun residents. So many people quickly gathered. Princess Xiyu was so angry that she gritted her teeth. However, with so many people watching, she could only pretend to be fair. She said unhappily, "Shiluo Shiyen, although you two are kind-hearted and want to help little Jio, your tone is a little too rushed. Why aren't you apologizing to little Jiao? Yun Chujiao sneered in her heart. This princess Shiyu really knew how to talk. Now that she said it, it seemed like she was being unreasonable. She said in a muffled voice, "It's fine to be a little impatient, but they called me a country bumpkin. How am I a country bumpkin? How am I a country bumpkin?" Sob sob. Can you make some for me to taste? Xiao Hanyo said pitifully. Yun Chujiao wiped the drool that was about to fall down. Don't worry. When I get it, we can eat it to our heart's content. This guy didn't care about the divine phoenix stone. Let's eat it to our heart's content first. When they were about to get close to the fiery tree, several fiery red snakes climbed down from the tree. On their heads were fiery red meat crowns, hissing and spitting out their tongues. It was obvious that they were not easy to provoke. Yun Shilian whispered to Yun Chujiao, "This is a fiery red-crowned snake. Although its spiritual power is only at level 49, which is equivalent to a cultivator at level 3 to 4 of the spiritual fantasy realm, it is highly poisonous. Moreover, it is a demon beast that lives in groups and is very difficult to deal with. Later you can just watch from the back to avoid hurting you. What if you are poisoned?" Yun Chujiao asked curiously. "We all have the antidote on us. However, even if we take the antidote, we will lose more than half of our spiritual power. Basically, we won't be able to fight anymore, so we must not let it bite us," Yun Shilian said. Yun Shilian handed Yun Chujiao a porcelain bottle. The antidote to the fiery red-crowned snake is inside the bottle. Keep it well. If you get bitten, take one immediately. Yun Chujiao nodded. No matter what Yun Zillian's motive was, at least they were allies now. It was not bad for them to be on good terms for the time being. Soon Yun Jifeng and the others started fighting with the fiery red-crowned snake. He Xinjiao naturally would not rush up foolishly. She hid far away and observed the situation in front of her. This guy thought to himself, no wonder they were using the family as a unit. There were more than a dozen fiery red-crowned snakes on this fiery tree. If there were fewer people, there would be no way to deal with them. Yun Chujiao pondered for a moment. According to Yun Shilian, the fiery red-crowned snake was equivalent to a human's 3rd to 4th level spirit illusion. Looking at the situation, Yun Jifeng and the other spiritual power levels should be around the 3rd to 5th level spirit illusion. In comparison, she was indeed very weak. Yun Chujiao also discovered that Yun Jifeng and the others used their spiritual power to attack and did not release their spiritual beasts. What was the reason? Wouldn't it be more convenient to release their spiritual beasts? Moreover, they could avoid being poisoned. Were they stupid? However, Yun Chujiao knew that she was new here and did not know many things. There must be some other reasons. He Xinjiao felt that it was not good for her to just stand there. If she did not put in any effort, she would be too embarrassed to share the fiery fruits later. Therefore, this guy stretched his neck and shouted, "Brothers and sisters, do your best. I will support you spiritually. Go. Yes. Hurry up. Kill one and you will lose one. Hurry up. Otherwise, the other families will harvest more than us. Put in more effort." Yun Shiluo and the others were so angry that they gritted their teeth. This damn country bumpkin. She was light-footed, standing there without putting in any effort. It was really hateful. However, now was obviously not the time to care about these things. After an hour, the Yun family finally killed all the fiery red-crowned snakes on this fiery fruit tree. Everyone impatiently began to pick the fiery fruit. He Xinjiao shamelessly went up to pick the fruit as well. Seeing that no one objected, this fellow could not help but feel happy. It seemed that it was not bad to make up the numbers. Unexpectedly, after all the fruits on the tree had been picked, Yun Jifeng said, "Everyone, hand over the fiery fruits to me. I will preserve them all." As Yun Jifeng spoke, he took out a bamboo basket. Everyone put the fruits in it. He Xinjiao also put the fruits in the bamboo basket, but this fellow secretly left too. This guy thought that since there was no specific number of the fruits, no one would know that she left too. Unexpectedly, Yun Shiluo said with a sneer, "Yun Chujiao, I clearly saw you pick 8 fruits. Why did you only give me 6? Wasn't it embarrassing to be found out by others? If it were an ordinary person, they would have long found a hole to hide in." However, He Xinjiao obviously did not know what integrity was. She said with a smile, "Sister Shiluo, you really have sharp eyes. I did leave 2 fruits. Because I have never seen the fiery fruits before, I plan to observe them carefully. Yun 11 Luo snorted coldly. Don't tell me you want to hide these fruits and sell them? I'll tell you the truth. Selling the fiery fruits privately in the Dongfeng Kingdom is a capital offense. Just give up on that idea. Heaven and earth, how would I dare to have such an idea? I'm really just curious. Yun Chujio held back her saliva and put the 2 fiery fruits into the bamboo basket. He Xinjio watched Yun Jifeng put the bamboo basket into his storage ring and sighed in her heart. Sigh, she couldn't be blamed for this. She didn't put in any effort, so it seemed a little shameless to steal the fruits. Xiao Hanyo couldn't help but roll his eyes. Have you done enough shameless things? Now you have a conscience. I really want to eat the fruit, why is it broken? He Xinjio had been caught by Yun Shiluo and the others for stealing the fruit, so she was naturally mocked and ridiculed. This guy was thick-skinned and pretended not to hear it. This guy was thinking in his heart, how can I get some fruit to taste? These people were guarding against her as if she was a thief. They did not even need her to pick the fruit. Now she could not even touch it, let alone eat it. Yun Shilian saw her sighing and said, Little Jiu, what's wrong? Yun Chujio obviously would not say that she was greedy for the fruit. Instead she shamelessly said, 8th sister, all of you can contribute to the Yun family. I'm just a glutton. I feel a little guilty. Yun Shilo pouted and said, at least you still have some conscience. If you don't cause trouble for us, we will be burning incense. Yun Chujio didn't say anything. Who asked this fellow to be in the wrong? Seeing that Yun Chujio didn't say anything, Yun Shiluo felt that it was meaningless. It was like a heavy punch hitting cotton. She felt embarrassed. As the Divine Phoenix Valley was open for a total of 9 days, the members of the Yun family found a cave to rest in the evening. After eating some dry rations, Yun Jifeng and Princess Xiyu discussed the arrangements for the night shift. After the announcement, everyone began to rest. Xiao Hanyo mumbled in the spirit beast pouch as if he was reciting scriptures. I want to eat the fiery fruit. I want to eat the fiery fruit. I want to eat the fiery fruit. Damn it, shut up. Do you think I don't want to eat it? But the snake was killed by someone else and the fruit was picked by someone else. What can I do? He Xinjio said fiercely. Xiao Hanyo blinked its green bean-like eyes and said, Master, although the spiritual power of the fiery red-crowned snake is higher than yours, you are not afraid of poison. Let's act alone. I guarantee that we can eat until we are full. He Xinjia's heart moved, but she thought about it and realized that it was impossible. Although she was not afraid of the fiery red-crowned snake, there were other demonic beasts in the Divine Phoenix Valley. Any one of them could kill her, so she could not take the risk just for a mouthful of food. That would be too stupid. Yun Chujio shared her thoughts. Xiao Hanyo drooped its head and did not say a word. It recalled the incident with the Nirvana Pearl. Last time debeaming that jinx almost killed it. If the fiery fruit really put the little girl in danger this time, when that jinx came out, it would definitely be killed. In the next few days, Yun Chujio could do nothing but shout for support. However, she did not do anything to slow it down. Yun Shiluo and the others directly ignored her and did not find trouble with her. On this day, the people of the Yun family heard the sounds of fighting from afar. They also heard the crown prince's cry for help. Help! Help! Come quickly! The people of the Yun family took a closer look. There were a few corpses on the ground. The crown prince and a few guards were fighting with a huge monster. The crown prince and the 4 princes were allowed to bring 10 guards each, but each guard's spiritual power level had to be below the 5th layer of the illusionary realm. The number of fiery fruits at the end was also a symbol of strength. Therefore, the crown prince and the princes were secretly competing with each other. Yun Jifeng cried out in surprise, it's actually a level 52 red mandrill. How can there be such a high-level demon beast in the Divine Phoenix Valley? The crown prince, Lung Tianche, shouted in exasperation, why aren't you guys coming to save me? What nonsense are you spouting? Yun Jifeng finally came to his senses and quickly ordered the members of the Yun family to come forward and help. The faces of the members of the Yun family were solemn. A level 52 Qimang was equivalent to a cultivator in the 9th layer of the spiritual illusion realm. Even if all of them were added together, they might not be a match for it. However, they had to save the crown prince. Otherwise, they would be exterminated if they went out. The only hope they had now was that other families would come over. This way they might be able to force Qishao to retreat. He Xinjiu could not be of much help. She climbed up a crooked tree and craned her neck to look around. Unfortunately, there was no one in sight. It seemed that there would be no reinforcements for a while. Yun Chujiu did not know much about the demonic beasts of the towering sky continent, so she did not know what weaknesses the Qishao had. She could only stretch her neck and shout, "You guys should attack its weakness instead. It's a waste of spiritual energy to attack it randomly." Yun Shilua shouted unhappily, "What do you know? If we knew its weakness, how could we not attack it?" Yun Chujiu pouted. "The weakness of a demon beast is nothing more than its eyes, its back and its courtyard. Why don't you just attack these two areas? You're so stupid." Everyone was furious. "You're still making sarcastic remarks without helping us. How hateful." However, when they thought about what she said, it made sense. Therefore, the focus of everyone's attack was on Qishao's eyes, its back and its courtyard. They didn't know if it was a lucky hit, but Qishao seemed to be very afraid of these two places and slowly fell into a disadvantage. Qishao glared fiercely at He Xinjiu, who was on the crooked tree. This damn girl was really hateful. Even if it couldn't eat others today, it would eat her to vent its anger. Therefore, when Qishao saw that it was no match for her, it suddenly kicked its back leg and broke the crooked tree with a claw. It carried He Xinjiu and disappeared with a whoosh. Yun Jichen cried out in surprise, "Little Jiu," just as Yun Jichen and Yun Shilian were about to chase after Qishao. Princess Shiyu said sorrowfully and helplessly, "I'm afraid that little Jiu has already been eaten by Qishao. If we go, it will be a waste of our lives. Moreover, more than half of the Crown Prince's guards are dead and injured. Protecting the Crown Prince is more important. But are we just going to watch as Qishao is captured by Qishao? Or are we just going to let him die? What if Qishao isn't dead?" "Why must you insist on doing it? If you go, don't come back to our team." Yun Jichen looked hurt, but he still said, "No matter what, I'll go with Xilian to take a look. I'm sorry, big brother." After saying that, Yun Jichen bowed to the Crown Prince, and then quickly chased after the fifth prince. Princess Shiyu's eyes flashed, and then she said, "Your Highness, you don't have to mind. Fifth brother is usually close to the fifth prince, so it's normal for him to follow." The Crown Prince's expression instantly darkened. Yun Jichen still had the Prince of Peace's estate behind him, and the fifth prince was planning everything according to his wishes. Unfortunately, although the Prince of Peace's estate was not small, it could not be compared to the Prince of Yun's estate at all, and it could not even be compared to the Yun family army. He really had the wrong plan. After Yun Jichen caught up with the fifth prince and Yun Shilian, he sighed. "Your Highness, we said that we were going to save little Nine, but..." Sigh. The fifth prince nodded in understanding. "I know, even if you didn't tell me. Ninth Miss is very lucky. I don't think there's really anything wrong. Let's hurry over." The fifth prince and the others chased after Qishao. At first they could still find Qishao's footprints, but later they lost track of him. They searched for 2 whole days, but they still could not find Qishao or Yun Chujiu. They felt that Yun Chujiu should not be able to survive. Both the fifth prince and Yun Jichen were very depressed, especially the fifth prince. He had already tested Martial Emperor Sheng's attitude. Not only did Martial Emperor Sheng not stop him from marrying Yun Chujiu, but he also seemed to be very supportive of him, therefore he was very ambitious. He felt that as long as he married Yun Chujiu and helped Yun Jichen ascend to the position of king of the Yun family, the Yun family army would be in his hands sooner or later. When that time came, the throne would be at his fingertips. As for the king of the Yun's mansion, he would think of ways to disrupt their strength in the future. Without the Yun family army, the king of the Yun's mansion would be nothing. Who would have thought that Yun Chujiu would die just like that? What bad luck. However, the fifth prince quickly adjusted his state of mind. There were still 3 days before the Divine Phoenix Valley would close, so it was more important to pick the fiery fruits. Therefore, the fifth prince and the others stopped looking for Qishao and began to pick the fiery fruits wholeheartedly. Yun Jichen was naturally tactful. He and Yun Shilian handed the fiery fruits they picked to the fifth prince. Anyway, Yun Jichen had already expelled them from the Yun family's team, so they did not have to worry about anything anymore. Suddenly, the fifth prince and the others were surprised to find that the demon beasts in the Divine Phoenix Valley were running toward the Divine Phoenix Valley like crazy. When these demon beasts passed by the fifth prince and the others, they didn't even pause as if they didn't see them. At the same time, the fifth prince and the others saw the flames rising in the distance, which were hundreds of feet high. Nirvana Pearl. The Nirvana Pearl must have appeared. The fifth prince suddenly said with surprise and joy. The fifth prince was overjoyed. Not only did the Nirvana Pearl have great benefits for the cultivation of fire-type demonic beasts, but it was also very beneficial for the cultivation of fire-type spiritual roots. This was simply a great good thing. If he received it and gave it to his father, he would definitely be able to win his father's favor. This would be a great help for him to ascend to the position of crown prince. When the fifth prince thought of this, he hurriedly said, "Let's hurry over to prevent others from getting there first." Yunjichin frowned and said, "Your Highness, although the Nirvana Pearl is precious, you have also seen it. Almost all the fire-type demonic beasts in the Divine Phoenix Valley have run over. When that time comes, it will definitely be a chaotic battle. Is it worth taking this risk?" The fifth prince's excited mood immediately calmed down. Not only were these demonic beasts difficult to deal with, but the crown prince would probably also go over. When that time came, if he were to threaten him not to fight with him for the Nirvana Pearl, there was nothing he could do. When the fifth prince thought of this, he immediately lost his previous excitement. However, he still said, "It's good for us to go over and watch the show. At most, we'll be at the periphery of the demonic beast. If the situation is not good, we'll just retreat. Perhaps we'll be able to see the scarlet mandrill there." Yunjichin nodded. "Then we should also stay further away. Since the scarlet mandrill has appeared here, there might be other high-level demonic beasts." The fifth prince nodded, and everyone rushed toward the place where the flames were rising. Most of the people in the East Phoenix country had fire spirit roots. Although many people knew that the Nirvana Pearl would not fall into their hands, they still ran towards the place where the flames rose. On the way, the fifth prince and the others met the crown prince and Princess Shiyu. The crown prince saw that Yunchuju was not in the team. He could not help but say coldly, "Fifth brother, how is it? I told you that Yunchuju would not survive, right? You still insisted on saving her. You didn't manage to save her, did you?" The fifth prince shook his head helplessly. "We didn't even discover that Qi Shao, let alone Miss Jiu." The crown prince glanced at the fifth prince and said, "The Nirvana Pearl should have appeared in front of us. This Nirvana Pearl belongs to me. Don't think of anything." The fifth prince smiled bitterly again. "Royal brother, you're worrying too much. How would we dare to snatch it from you? It's just that the demon beasts of the Divine Phoenix Valley have all come over. You should be thinking about how to snatch the Nirvana Pearl from the hands of those demon beasts." The crown prince clearly did not consider the demon beasts. Hearing the fifth prince's words, his expression immediately became very ugly. If the demon beasts of the Divine Phoenix Valley were all gathered there, he would not be able to obtain the Nirvana Pearl at all. He could only look at the pearl and sigh. When everyone arrived at the place where the flames were rising, they discovered that it was already filled with demonic beasts. Moreover, there was no lack of high-level demonic beasts. The crown prince's heart immediately turned cold. Forget about snatching the Nirvana Pearl, they did not dare to get too close. It seemed that the Divine Phoenix Valley had always had high-level demonic beasts. They only did not come out normally. This time the Nirvana Pearl appeared, so they all came out. This could also explain why they met that Qi Shao. The senses of demon beasts were much stronger than that of humans. The Qi Shao probably sensed that the Nirvana Pearl was about to appear, so it came out from the depths of the Divine Phoenix Valley. When everyone was looking around, they saw a huge creature running over from another direction. It was the Qi Shao that had attacked them previously. However, what was that thing on the back of Qi Shao? Everyone rubbed their eyes and looked closely. They saw a little girl sitting on the back of Qi Shao. There seemed to be something hidden in her sleeves. She was eating leisurely. "Yes, it's that country bumpkin Yun Chujio. She's not dead." Yun Shiluo exclaimed loudly. Everyone looked at Yun Chujio, who was on Qi Shao's back, in shock. Not only was Yun Chujio not eaten by Qi Shao, but she was riding on Qi Shao's back instead. How was this possible? Was that Qi Shao stupid? Princess Shiyu's eyes flashed with a trace of disappointment. She was not dead even like this. This bitch was really lucky. She thought for a moment and shouted, "Little Jiu, you're still alive. That's great. Come quickly, it's dangerous inside." Yun Chujio turned to look at her and said faintly, "Sister Shiyu, I was eaten by Qi Shao a long time ago. I'm a ghost now. I died so miserably. I was eaten by Qi Shao until only my bones were left. Sister Shiyu, I've always treated your sister so badly, but you actually didn't save me. I'll go and have a good chat with you tonight." Princess Shiyu was so frightened that she staggered. If Yun Shiluo and Yun Shiyen hadn't held her up, she would have fallen to the ground. However, Yun Shiluo and Yun Shiyen were also slightly trembling. They had also left her in the lurch just now. Could that country bumpkin have gone to look for them tonight? Yun Chujio glanced at the crowd again, then turned her head and sat on Qi Shao's back as she entered the crowd of demon beasts. The surrounding demon beasts were all low level, so they naturally didn't dare to stop Qi Shao. They let Qi Shao walk all the way to the innermost part of the crowd. The deeper they went, the higher the level of the demon beast. However, as the Divine Phoenix Valley was closed, the highest level of the demon beast was level 52 like Qi Shao. When the demon beasts saw Yun Chujio on Qi Shao's back, they were all dumbfounded. Was this Qi Shao's brain damaged? Why was she carrying a human girl? And the fruit that the little human girl was chewing seemed to taste like fiery fruits? Weren't humans very precious in these fruits? Weren't they reluctant to eat them? "Big fatty, put me down. I'll roast meat for you to eat." Yun Chujio threw the core of the fruit into the pit and said to Qi Shao, "Big fatty?" Those high-level demonic beasts were stunned at first, then they laughed until they fell back. This name was really too outdated. Qi Shao's face was already red and now it was even redder. It gritted its teeth. "Didn't want to do this, alright?" Qi Shao recalled the experiences of the past 2 days and wanted to cry. If it knew that this wretched girl was a pervert, it wouldn't have captured her at that time. 2 days ago, Hei Xinjiu had been cheering from the crooked tree. She had never dreamed that Qi Shao would suddenly attack her. By the time she reacted, Qi Shao had already grabbed her clothes and was running wildly. Hei Xinjiu's heart was like a beeping dog. Why did this damn Qi Shao attack her? Was it picking on the weak? Qi Shao wanted to eat Yun Chujio, but it was afraid that the crown prince and the others would chase after it, so it ran all the way until it reached its nest. It then threw Yun Chujio on the ground and prepared to have a good meal. It was not worried that Yun Chujio would run away. Such a weak chicken could not escape from its palm. Yun Chujio tried to fool Qi Shao, but Qi Shao did not buy it. Hei Xinjiu put her hands on her hips. "Ugly monster, do you think I'm afraid of you? I gave you a chance just now. Since you don't cherish it, don't blame me for being rude." Qi Shao let out a strange laugh. This human girl was most likely scared silly by it. Was she the only one who was rude to it? She wasn't afraid of losing her tongue. Yun Chujio's eyes deepened. She could use this mandrill to test her puppet. Even if she couldn't win, there was enough time for her to escape. Therefore Yun Chujio raised her hand and puppet number 1 was released. "Number 1, go and kill it," Hei Xinjiu said coldly. Qi Shao took a step back in shock and then curled his lips in disdain. So it was such a thing. Although it looked sturdy, this thing was extremely stupid and was not its match. Qi Shao's disdain quickly turned into surprise. He did not expect this broken thing to be surprisingly agile. The worst thing was that this broken thing was very sturdy and Qi Shao's damage to it was extremely limited. However, Qi Shao knew that the puppet's weakness was its abdomen. Thus, he desperately attacked puppet number 1's abdomen. Puppet number 1 could only protect its abdomen to prevent Qi Shao from destroying its puppet disc and gradually falling into a disadvantageous position. Qi Shao was very proud. No matter how powerful this thing was, it was still a dead object. It was not its match at all. Just as Qi Shao was feeling proud, he heard the little human girl say faintly, "Ugly monster, I did not expect you to be so powerful. Since that's the case, I can only gang up on you." Before Qi Shao could react, another 4 puppets were released. Qi Shao almost fell to the ground. Damn it, how could he bully a beast like this? Qi Shao's heart turned cold at that moment. Could still deal with 1 puppet, but now there were 5 of them. Even if it was exhausted to death, it would not be able to defeat them. The 5 puppets beat Qi Shao up. Just when Qi Shao thought its life was going to be over, Hei Xinjiu said with a smile, "Ugly monster, Let's establish a temporary contract. You take me to pick the fiery fruits. When I get out, I'll let you go. I won't force you. It's your choice. You can either die or establish a contract with me. Qi Shao almost fainted from anger. How could this not be forced? However, it had no other choice. It could only establish a temporary contract with Yun Chujio and carry He Xinjiu to the depths of the Divine Phoenix Valley to pick the fiery fruits. As there were few people in the depths of the Divine Phoenix Valley, the fiery fruits were older and the fruits were bigger. He Xinjiu was overjoyed. Yun Chujio thought that as long as Qi Shao took action, the fiery red-crowned snakes would obediently hand over the fruits. She did not expect that although the fiery red-crowned snakes were afraid of Qi Shao, they would not back down because of their numbers. Therefore, Yun Chujio started to negotiate with the fiery red-crowned snakes. As long as they gave her 10 fiery fruits, she would leave with Qi Shao. The fiery red-crowned snakes would most likely agree to pay money to avoid disaster. If they didn't agree, He Xinjiu would send 5 puppets out to help Qi Shao deal with the fiery red-crowned snakes. When Qi Shao came back to his senses, Yun Chujio was already squatting not far from the deep pit and starting to roast meat. The aroma of the roasted meat spread in all directions, causing the demon beasts to drool. Qi Shao immediately felt a little better. In the past 2 days, it had eaten quite a lot of roasted meat from the little girl. Let these country bumpkins be envious and jealous. Yun Chujio finished roasting half a fan of mutton and started to eat happily with Qi Shao. As she ate, she said, "Big fatty, my roasted meat is not bad, right? It's charred on the outside and tender on the inside. It's sizzling and oozing oil. It's simply the best delicacy in the world." Qi Shao was eating happily. His big head nodded. No matter what, this smelly girl's roasting skills were pretty good. The other high-level demon beasts were all drooling. They wanted nothing more than to snatch a piece and have a taste. Yun Chujio was almost done eating. She glanced at the high-level demon beasts who were eyeing her covetously and said, "Do you guys want to eat roasted meat?" Although those high-level demonic beasts really wanted to eat it, they all pretended to be pretentious and didn't say anything. They felt that lowering their heads just for a mouthful of food was a disgrace to the demeanor of the demonic beasts. They were much more moral than that, Qi Shao. Yun Chujio sighed, "I originally wanted to roast some for you guys. Since you guys don't like it, then forget it." Those high-level demonic beasts were so regretful that their intestines turned green. If they had known this would happen, they wouldn't have had any moral integrity. At this moment, Yun Chujio said, "Forget it, I'm the kindest person. I'll roast some for you. However, you can't eat it for free. You have to give something in exchange. High-level medicinal herbs or fiery fruits are fine." The high-level demonic beasts hurriedly took out their items. Black-hearted Jiao kept them all into his storage ring and helped the demonic beasts roast the meat. When the crowd outside saw this scene, they felt as if they were in a dream. How could a human make a deal with a demon beast? That country bumpkin traded a few pieces of broken roasted meat for a pile of high-level herbs and fiery fruits? How could they not have gotten more than what she got even if they were to fight to the death? This was fucking ridiculous. The 5th prince looked at Yun Chujio with a burning gaze. This Yun Chujio must be extraordinary, or else she wouldn't have subdued Qi Shao. After they left the Divine Phoenix Valley, he would issue an imperial decree to marry his father. At that time she could only obediently marry him. Princess Shiyu glanced at the 5th prince's infatuated gaze and secretly hated him. That damned slut. Not only was she not bitten to death by Qi Shao, but she had also gotten a great bargain. How hateful. Could those demonic beasts have been reincarnated as hungry ghosts? Wasn't it just a few pieces of broken roasted meat? Was there a need to be so greedy? A bunch of idiots. Right at this moment she heard Yun Chujio cry out in surprise. Then she fell into the deep pit and was instantly engulfed by the raging fire. Princess Shiyu was first shocked, then delighted. However, her expression was one of shock and grief. What exactly is going on? Yun Jichen sighed. It seems that when those high-level demonic beasts were fighting over the roasted meat, they accidentally bumped into little Jiao into the fire pit. Yun Jifeng snorted coldly. She brought this upon herself. Just now, Shiyu asked her to come over, but she insisted on going inside. She could only blame herself if she lost her life. When the surrounding people heard Yun Jifeng's words, They all felt that this crown prince Yun was a little too cold and heartless. His cousin had died, but he was not sad but instead ridiculed her. He was really cold-blooded. However, when everyone thought of Yun Chujia's awkward situation in the Yun mansion, they felt relieved. No one in the Yun mansion would care about Yun Chujia's life or death. The fifth prince's eyes were red. Of course, he was not sad for Yun Chujio, but because his bright future had been destroyed once again. Just as everyone was thinking about it, they were surprised to find that the fire in the fire pit had started to weaken. Could it be that the Nirvana Pearl was about to appear? The high-level demonic beasts widened their eyes and prepared to fight for the Nirvana Pearl as soon as possible. Finally, the fire was extinguished. However, there were no Nirvana Pearls at the bottom of the pit. Instead, there was a little girl looking at them with a smile. The little girl was holding a shovel with a red bead on it. The shovel was melting at a speed visible to the naked eye. The little girl said curiously, "What kind of bead is this? It's actually so hot. Take it and play with it." As Hei Shinjio said that, she threw the spade and the bead far away with all her might. Immediately, all the high-level demon beasts ran toward the bead. Qi Shao was about to fight for the bead when he heard Hei Shinjio cursing in his spiritual sense. "You dumbass! Hurry up and take me away or we will both die." Qi Shao did not understand, but when Yun Chuju jumped onto its back, it still jumped out at the fastest speed in its life. Hei Shinjio shouted angrily, "Damn fatty! Are you in a hurry to pee? Why are you running?" Qi Shao gritted its teeth in anger, but it did not dare to disobey Yun Chujia's order. It brought her along and ran. The high-level beasts were all fighting for the red bead. The low-level beasts did not dare to stop Qi Shao, so Qi Shao quickly disappeared into the depths of the Divine Phoenix Valley. After running for a distance, Yun Chujio could not wait to throw Xiao Hanyo on the ground. Qi Shao was stunned. What the hell was this fat ball-like bird? Xiao Hanyo quickly turned into a fireball. Fortunately, with the previous experience, it began to roll around on the ground. Wherever Xiao Hanyo rolled, all the grass and trees were instantly turned into ashes. Qi Shao was so scared that he almost fell to the ground. Could this be the fire of Nirvana? Qi Shao suddenly had a flash of inspiration. Could it be that what the little girl threw out was not the Nirvana bead, but the real Nirvana bead was swallowed by this fat bird? Qi Shao was shocked and despised in his heart. These two pets were most likely idiots. Could this Nirvana Pearl be casually swallowed? High-level fire-type demon beasts like them would find it very difficult to endure after swallowing the Nirvana Pearl, not to mention this level 1 fat bird. It was simply courting death. However, this fat bird was quite resistant. Why was it not burnt to ashes after such a long time? Qi Shao's eyes lit up. If this fat bird was burned to death, would the Nirvana Pearl be able to belong to it? If it really couldn't, even if it had to compromise and accept this little girl as its master, it would still be fine. After all, the Nirvana Pearl was a treasure that might not be found even in 10,000 years. When Qi Shao thought of this, he began to hope that the little black bird would be burned to ashes as soon as possible. This way he would be able to take advantage of it. Who would have thought that Xiao Hanyo would roll around and suddenly become bigger? Her originally round body had become a graceful arc. Although her body was still covered in black feathers, there was an indescribable brilliance and splendor about her. There was also a sense of nobility that looked down on the world. Xiao Hanyo raised her neck and let out a loud cry towards the sky. Clang clang clang, the phoenix flew and clang 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 clang. But this fat bird was actually a phoenix. Qi Shao immediately knelt on the ground trembling. Oh God! It was actually a divine phoenix. No wonder this little girl was so abnormal. So it was the master of the divine phoenix. A trace of doubt flashed through Qi Shao's mind. It was said that the divine phoenix of the Divine Phoenix Valley was a 5-colored phoenix. Why was it only black? Forget it. Regardless of whether it was a 5-colored phoenix or a black phoenix, they were all phoenixes. It was fine as long as it submitted. The demonic beasts and demonic birds in the Divine Phoenix Valley felt a huge pressure. Xiao Hanyo's noble bloodline had an absolute suppression on them. All the demonic beasts and demonic birds prostrated on the ground, trembling as they bowed and submitted. It was not only the demonic beasts of the Divine Phoenix Valley who were like this. At the same time, Almost all the demonic beasts in the entire towering sky continent knelt and bowed in the direction of the divine Phoenix Valley at the same time. The ancient godly beasts were the gods of the demon beasts in the world. This kind of reverence flowed in their blood. They had no other choice but to kneel and submit. Hei Xinjiu touched her chin. This kind of scene seemed familiar. At this time Xiao Hei was indeed quite awesome. However, it could only last for a moment. How could she escape later? She had to think of a way to escape. Otherwise, not only those demon beasts, the crown prince and the rest would not let her go either. Hei Xinjiu blinked her eyes and looked around. Then she walked to the underbrush that had not been burned. She took out a red-feathered peacock egg from the great void mystic realm and cracked it. She placed the cracked side of the egg on the underbrush. Hei Xinjiu took out a few feathers and placed them on the egg. When she was teleported to the dark continent, she fell into a large bird nest. When she left, she took some feathers. She did not know what kind of demonic bird it was. It was likely that the people from the towering sky continent had never seen it before. It was a good opportunity to trick them. Qi Xiao looked at Yun Chujia's actions with a dumbfounded expression. What was she trying to do? At this moment, Xiao Hanio returned to its original appearance. To be exact, its body had gained another round of weight. It was more like a ball now. Yun Chujia did not need to ask to know that this fellow had finished acting cool. She ignored Xiao Hanio's fawning look and put it into her storage ring. Then she gave Qi Xiao a few instructions. Qi Xiao's huge eyes were wide open. This fellow was too mean. However, would this work? Yun Chuju did not care what it thought. She walked to the grass that was not affected and lay down on the ground, pretending to be dead. Qi Xiao was stunned for a moment. When he felt the ground shaking, he quickly ran to Yun Chujia's side and lay on the ground, pretending to be dead. A moment later, some high-level demon beasts ran over. The crown prince and the others followed from afar. They were extremely excited. That huge pressure just now should have been released by the divine phoenix. Could it be that the divine phoenix had appeared? Or could it be that a little divine phoenix had appeared? However, even if they wished they could run over and take a look, they could only watch from a distance due to the pressure of those high-level demonic beasts. When those high-level demonic beasts came close, Qi Xiao slowly woke up and used his claws to pull Hei Xinjiu. He thought to himself, it's about time. Did he really fall asleep? Hei Xinjiu rubbed her eyes and jumped up immediately. She pointed at the scorched grassland in the distance and exclaimed, "Phoenix! I saw a phoenix just now. Why is it gone?" Qi Xiao's eyes twitched for a moment, and then he revealed a dazed expression. He cried out a few times to show his surprise and confusion. Seeing this, the high-level demon beasts roared at Qi Xiao and Hei Xinjiu. Their intention was self-evident. They wanted Qi Xiao and Hei Xinjiu to tell them what had happened. They fought for the red bead for a long time. Later they found out that it was just a broken stone. They were so angry that they almost died. Yun Chujiu looked puzzled. Big Fatty told me that when you were fighting for the bead, it suddenly needed to pee. It was a decent beast. Naturally, it was embarrassed to do that in public. So it carried me all the way. I didn't expect. When Yun Chujiu said this, a look of infatuation appeared on her face. I didn't expect that we would actually see the phantom of a divine phoenix there. You guys didn't see it. The divine phoenix looked down at the world with such nobility that it was simply breathtaking. However, the pressure was too strong, so I fainted later on. Big Fatty, you fainted later on too? Qi Xiao nodded with a stiff expression. He was so aggrieved in his heart that he wanted to die. You're the one who was in a hurry to pee. Your entire family needs to pee. The demonic beasts were skeptical. The appearance of the divine phoenix should be real, but how did this little human girl happen to meet it? Yun Chujiu seemed to have noticed the doubts of the demonic beasts and said proudly, "You may not know this, but am someone who is favored by the divine phoenix. Back then, when I sacrificed myself to the divine phoenix didn't even have the heart to take my life. I guess this time, it is also to let me see its heroic appearance. No wonder I felt that something was summoning me, so I threw that bead to you." The demonic beasts were still skeptical. I saw that you have obtained quite a number of high-level herbs. Do you have any purple radish flowers in there? If you do, leave them to me. Yun Chujie was so angry that she almost burst into laughter. What was wrong with this Ling Tianche? Why should she leave her herbs to him? Did he really treat her as a dish? Hei Xinjiu curled the corners of her lips. How could it be so coincidental that there's not even a single thousand silky purple radish flower? The crown prince could not help but feel a little disappointed. He did not think that Yun Chujio had the guts to lie to him. Princess Shiyu said softly from the side, "Ninth sister, you've just arrived at Towering Sky Continent. How could you possibly know the herbs? Since you don't know them, why did you say that there's not a single thousand silky purple radish flower among the herbs you've obtained? Don't tell me you don't want to give it to His Highness the Crown Prince on purpose?" When the Crown Prince heard Princess Shiyu say this, his expression instantly darkened. That's right, this Yun Chuju didn't know any herb at all. She definitely didn't want to give the herb to him. Crown Prince Leng Tianche stared at Yun Chujio gloomily. "Hand over all the medicinal herbs and I will search for the thousand silk purple radish flower myself." Yun Chujio sneered in her heart. She had seen shameless people before, but this was the first time she had seen such a shameless person. She curled the corners of her lips. "Sister Shiyu, I don't know the thousand silk purple radish flower, but Big Fatty does. He told me that there is no thousand silk purple radish flower among my medicinal herbs. It's a level 52 demon beast. It can't be that it doesn't even know the thousand silky purple radish flowers, right?" Qi Shao fiercely roared at the crown prince and the others, cursing in his heart. Fuck, if it weren't for these people, it wouldn't have fallen into the hands of the smelly girl. These people deserved to die. Qi Shao's pressure caused the crown prince and the others to involuntarily take a few steps back. Only then did everyone remember that this country bumpkin was no longer the same as before. She had actually contracted with the level 52 Qi Shao. Although Qi Shao was not considered an impressive demonic beast in the Towering Sky Continent, it was still more than enough to deal with them. Therefore everyone felt a little more fearful. The crown prince clenched his fists and said coldly, "Since there is no thousand threads purple radish flower, then what about phoenix tail red flame grass? No. Bell orchid kite? No. Thousand crane flower? No." The crown prince listed more than 10 kinds of herbs in one breath. Hei Xinjiu only had one answer and that was no. The crown prince gnashed his teeth and said, "Then what do you have? Whatever herbs you have, I want them. Give them to me." Yun Chujio curled the corners of her lips and took out a bunch of wheat-based herbs from her storage ring. "Your Highness, I only have this kind of herb here. It is said that it is very effective in curing the heart of an emergency. Since you want it, I will give it to you." The crown prince angrily threw the handful of hay grass on the ground. "Yun Chujio, you are courting death. This hay grass is only a yellow-grade herb. How could those high-level demon beasts give you such a worthless thing? PN0V1 Crown Prince, you are really interesting. If I didn't give it to you, you would be angry. Now that I have given it to you, you are still angry. Those demon beasts gave me this hay grass. Big Fatty, tell him whether it is true or not." Qi Shao roared a few times. This crown prince was simply stupid. He actually dared to go against the master of Divine Phoenix. Wasn't he courting death? The crown prince sneered, "Yun Chujio, do you think that you can do whatever you want with this Qi Shao? Previously we had fewer people so we couldn't defeat this Qi Shao." However, when the crowd saw more than a dozen high-level demonic beasts running toward them, they were so frightened that their claws went numb. The crown prince's expression also changed. "Those high-level demonic beasts actually listened to this slut?" Princess Shiyu said from the side, "Your Highness, we still need to pick the fiery fruits first. It's not too late to deal with other matters after we leave the Divine Phoenix Valley." The crown prince knew that Princess Shiyu was giving him a way out. He thought to himself, well, when we return to City, let's see how he will deal with this bitch. She actually dared to openly oppose him. She was simply courting death. The crown prince glared fiercely at Yun Chujio, then turned around and left. Once the crown prince left, those sons of noble families naturally followed him. The fifth prince hesitated for a moment, but still followed the crown prince. Yun Shilian was dragged by Yun Jichin and left reluctantly. Yun Chujio looked at the back of the crowd with a faint expression, then turned her head to look at the dozen or so high-level demonic beasts that ran over. These high-level demonic beasts naturally weren't protecting He Xinjiu, they just wanted to eat the crown prince and the others. Therefore, the demonic beasts didn't stop and continued to chase ahead. When the crown prince and the others saw the high-level demonic beasts chasing after them, they immediately went into a mess. They screamed and ran forward and soon they disappeared without a trace. Yun Chujio curled her lips and said to Qi Shao, "Big fatty, let's go. Let's go to the fire pit and see if there are any good things." Yun Chujio's words were naturally for the high-level demonic beasts that were still observing her. She was putting on a show so that they would not be exposed. At this moment, Qi Shao also wished that he could stay away from these high-level demonic beasts. Thus he carried He Xinjiu and quickly left. After He Xinjiu arrived at the fire pit, not to mention finding the broken shovel, she naturally kept it in her storage ring. Then she rummaged around and finally left with a sigh. The high-level demonic beasts that followed her dispersed. He Xinjiu heaved a sigh of relief in her heart. It seemed that those demonic beasts had completely believed her words. He Xinjiu counted with her fingers. The Divine Phoenix Valley would close in 2 days. When she left the Divine Phoenix Valley, the Crown Prince and Princess Shiyu would definitely make things difficult for her. He had to think of a way to escape. For the next 2 days, He Xinjiu hid in a cave for peace and quiet. She did not go out to show off. Finally, it was the day when the Divine Phoenix Valley would close. After the Crown Prince left the Divine Phoenix Valley, he waited for Yun Chujio at the entrance of the valley with a cold expression. These 2 days he had been chased like a stray dog by those high-level demonic beasts. All of this was caused by that bitch Yun Chujio. Today he had to kill her. Yun Jichin secretly sent a voice transmission talisman to the He Shi, telling her to quickly find the old consort. Other than that, he really couldn't think of any other good ideas. Finally, Yun Chujio slowly walked out of the Divine Phoenix Valley. Those sons of noble families instantly surrounded Yun Chujio in the middle. Now this Yun Chujio no longer had Qi Shao and those demonic beasts. Let's see how she would continue to show off. The Crown Prince laughed coldly. "Kill this bitch. I will bear all the consequences myself." Those people were just about to make a move when He Xinjiu coldly said, "Your Highness, don't forget how my father got the title of God of War. If the Yun family army finds out that you killed me, do you think you can still hold on to your position as the Crown Prince?" The Crown Prince's expression froze. Although the Yun family army had always been present, their real fame shook the 4 countries because of Yun Fengjin. In the hearts of the Yun family army, Yun Fengjin was like a god. Although this Yun Chujio was only a little girl and would not do much if the Yun family army found out that he had killed her. It might really cause some trouble. Just as the Crown Prince was hesitating, the sky suddenly darkened. Large chunks of dark clouds began to gather, and everyone could feel the pressure that filled the sky and earth. It was simply suffocating. He Xinjiu's heart was filled with joy and worry. It seemed that the long-awaited heavenly lightning had finally arrived. It was probably because Xiao Hanyo had swallowed the Nirvana pearl that the heavenly lightning was attracted, because it was like this last time. She did not know how powerful the heavenly lightning in the towering sky continent was, but she hoped that it was not too strong. She did not want to lose her life just like that. Princess Shiyu knew that the Crown Prince no longer wanted to kill Yun Chujio. At least he did not want to kill this bitch in front of everyone. Thus she said, "Your Highness, I see that the sky is a little strange. Let's hurry back to An City. Ninth sister is naughty. When I go back, I will report to grandfather and grandmother. They will definitely punish her severely. Please spare him this time." The Crown Prince was very satisfied with Princess Shiyu's understanding. He said with a stiff face, "All right, for your sake, let her off this time. Let's go back to the city." Everyone followed the Crown Prince and left. After the incident just now, the 5th prince became even more determined to marry Yun Chujio. He was afraid that other princes would beat him to it, so he smiled at Yun Chujio and followed. Everyone from the Yun family also left. Only Yun Jichin and Yun Shilian stayed behind. Yun Chujio was disgusted by the 5th prince's affectionate smile. This fifth prince was seriously ill. Yun Shilian ran to He Xinjia's side and said happily, "Little Jiu, you're finally fine. It's great. Let's hurry up and leave too." Yun Chujiu smiled and summoned a giant rabbit. "Let's go. Let's have a competition to see if my rabbit is faster or your wildebeest is faster." The corner of Yun Zikin's eyes twitched. This little Jiu was really big-hearted. After such a big incident, she actually had the heart to compete to see whose mount could run faster. However, when he thought of the old princess consort and the others waiting in the divine hall, he reckoned that the crown prince would not dare to do anything to Yun Chujiu, so he nodded. "Alright, the sky is so dark. I'm afraid that something bad will happen. It's better to leave quickly." The three of them got on their respective mounts and sped away. The sky was getting darker and the visibility was getting lower and lower. When Yun Jichen and Yun Shilian reached the city gate, they realized that Yun Chujiu was gone. The two of them thought that Yun Chujiu's rabbit was running slowly, so they waited for a while, but they still did not see Yun Chujiu coming over. Rumble. A loud noise startled the two of them, and their wildebeest fell directly to the ground. Yun Jichen frowned. "Let's go into the city and go to the divine hall first. It seems that something big is going to happen." Yun Shilian stretched her neck and looked into the distance again. Unfortunately, it was dark and she couldn't see anything, so she could only follow Yun Jichen into an city. At this moment, He Xinjiu was sitting on a stone by the side of the road, holding her cheeks and trying to think of a way. The heavenly lightning strike just now had struck her body. Her heart immediately turned cold. The heavenly lightning in the towering sky continent was much stronger than the heavenly lightning in the immortal origin continent. She might not be able to withstand it. Could it be that she was killed just like that? He Xinjia's head was spinning rapidly. There was nowhere to hide. Moreover, she had to avoid everyone so that she would not be regarded as a monster and a jinx. It seemed that she could only make things difficult for Wu Yun. It would be great if she could stop him from hacking for a while. However, how could she do that? Wu Yun in the sky originally thought that when a bolt of lightning struck down, that little weakling would be so frightened that he would run around in a panic. He might even kneel on the ground and cry for mercy. In the end, he was stunned to discover that the little weakling was actually distracted while sitting on the stone. Distracted? Distracted. Damn it. How could he disregard the heavenly lightning like that? I've never heard of anyone being able to be absent-mindedness when struck. It was truly detestable to the extreme. Boom, boom, boom. Wu Yun struck He Xinjiu with more than 10 heavenly lightning bolts consecutively. It felt that He Xinjiu would either be killed or injured after being struck by the heavenly lightning bolts. In the end, it turned out that the huge rock had been reduced to ashes. However, that damned weakling still looked as if she was absent-mindedness. Could she be an idiot? Yes, she must be an idiot. Otherwise, how could she not be afraid of being struck by lightning? But it was the first time in so many years that she had struck an idiot. What bad luck. He Xinjia's eyes lit up at this moment. This was the first time she had been struck by lightning in the towering sky continent. Wu Yun might not know how abnormal she was. Perhaps she could deceive the heavens and the sea. This guy took Xiao Hanyo out of the spiritual beast bag and looked at Xiao Hanyo's plump appearance. He said with disdain, "You idiot. It's because of you that the heavenly lightning was attracted. You can bear it yourself." Xiao Hanyo knew that he was in the wrong and said obsequiously, "Master, I'm also trying to cultivate faster. Now I can use the nirvana fire once in a while. If anyone provokes you, I'll help you burn them to death." Yun Chujiu curled her lips. What a nice way of saying it. Hurry up and help me get struck by lightning. Pan DN0V1 Xiao Hanyo flapped its short wings embarrassedly and helped He Xinjiu get struck by lightning. The corner of He Xinjia's eyes twitched. This guy was getting fatter and fatter, but his pair of short wings were not very long. They were flying unsteadily, and it seemed that they were not as high as the hens. Yun Chujiu took out Xiao Mogu as well. She fed the two of them first, then she thought of a way to trick the silly cloud in the sky. Wu Yun in the sky was shocked when he saw Xiao Hanyo. He knew that the phoenix had appeared, so he came to hack it. But who could tell him that such an ugly fat bird was a phoenix? What a joke. When did the phoenix become so ugly? Wu Yun had not recovered from the shock when he saw the little mushroom next to Xiao Mogu. What the hell was that? 15 minutes later, Xiao Mogu and Xiao Hanyo could not take it anymore, so He Xinjiu had to put them into the spirit beast bag. He Xinjiu looked up at Wu Yun in the sky with narrowed eyes, then sighed and said, "It's over. Looks like she's going to die today. The heavenly lightning is too powerful." Wu Yun in the sky was dazed. He was not a fool, was he? As long as he knew how powerful she was, he thought to himself. With a few more heavenly lightning strikes, he was sure that the darn girl would be dead. Boom, boom. The heavenly lightning struck down one after another. He Xinjiu screamed miserably, "Ouch. Ouch. I can't move anymore. Fuck. I feel that I'm going to die. I feel that my internal organs are going to explode. I didn't do anything bad either. Am I going to be struck to death just like that? I can't die in peace." At first, Yun Chujia's scream was quite loud. Later on, it became quieter and quieter. In the end, there was no more movement. Wu Yun thought in puzzlement, could it be that she was already struck to death? But that was also true. According to common sense, she should have been struck to death long ago. This wretched girl was already abnormal enough. Wu Yun only saw that the deep pit was filled with black ash. He did not see that smelly girl. Could it be that she had already been hacked into ashes? It sensed again but did not find any spiritual energy fluctuations. It seemed that she had really been hacked to death. In order to be on the safe side, Wu Yun randomly hacked for a while more before floating away in satisfaction. It was done. As the dark clouds dispersed, a pair of black claws extended out from the soil. Then He Xinjiu crawled out, cough cough, cough cough. Damn it. It's a good thing that I was smart enough to deceive the damn Wang Banyan. Otherwise it would have been really tough this time. Wu Yun of the towering sky continent is really stupid. I'm sure that he will have a lot of fun in the future. He Xinjiu was afraid that she would be discovered, so she quickly jumped out of the deep pit. After hiding in a hidden place and using the cleaning spell, she changed into a set of clothes that looked exactly the same. Only then did she ride the giant rabbit and quickly run toward Enching. At this moment in the divine hall, everyone was kneeling on the ground. As the national master was reciting the eulogy, they were all praying for the divine phoenix to protect them. The national master's explanation for the heavenly lightning was that the demonic beasts had eaten the phoenix eggs, so Tian Dao was furious. That was why the heavenly lightning descended. At this moment, when everyone saw that the dark clouds had dispersed and everything had returned to normal, they felt that it was all thanks to the eulogy recitation, and they were even more convinced of the national master. The national master got everyone to stand up and then said, "Now we will start counting the fiery fruits picked by the various families, and then distribute the divine phoenix stones according to the results." The old princess glanced around and realized that there was no He Xinjiu in the crowd. Although he sure told the old princess that Yun Chujiu had offended the crown prince, he told her later that the crown prince did not continue to cause trouble for Yun Chujiu. In addition to the sudden change in the situation, the old princess thought that Yun Chujiu had already arrived at the divine hall. The old princess' heart sank. Could it be that she was intercepted and killed on the way? Could it be that it was that bastard, the boss, again? The old consort wanted to ask Princess Shiyu and the others about the situation, but Princess Shiyu and the others had been called to the other side by the imperial advisor to count the number of fiery fruits. She could only wait anxiously. Zheng Shi also discovered that Yun Chujiu had not returned. She could not help but gloat in her heart. That slut had most likely died outside. That was great. Very quickly the number of fiery fruits was calculated. In previous years, the number of fiery fruits in King Yun's residence was slightly less than the crown prince and the 4 princes. It was far ahead of the other nobles. However, this year it was unexpectedly ranked outside the 20th place. On the other hand, the number of the crown prince far exceeded the other 4 princes. His expression was quite smug. Yun Fengjian's expression did not change much. He knew what was going on with one guess. Jifeng and Shiyu must have given a large portion of the fiery fruits they picked to the crown prince. He felt that the two of them were doing the right thing. The crown prince was going to ascend the throne in the future, and pleasing the crown prince was more important than anything else. The old prince frowned and sighed in his heart. A bunch of idiots. It was fine if they had given little in the past, but this time it was so obvious. Did they think the emperor was an idiot? Although the Yun residents did not lack a few divine phoenix stones, how would the other distinguished guests view the Yun residents? Actually, Yun Jifeng and Princess Shi did not want to make it so obvious either. However, the Crown Prince's guards had been killed by the Crimson Manga previously, so they had no choice but to give more than half of the fiery fruits to the Crown Prince. Just as the Imperial Tutor was about to distribute the Divine Phoenix Stone, he heard someone at the door say crisply, "Wait. I still have fiery fruits here." You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.